Welcome to Lorehammer, episode 27, Ork Warlords.
Hello and welcome to Lorehammer. I'm Mark, and with me I got Jordan.
This is not Eric.
No.
This is Jordan.
Unfortunately, we got some bad news about Eric.
Uh-oh.
So it's a kind of one of those good news, bad news situations. The good news is he's not with us. He's dead. I don't know where he is. I was supposed to look after his cat. I did not. So that's the good news?
Well, no one likes cats anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Bad news is I got two of my friends here that you guys have never met, and I also have never met, that are going to be joining us. So with me, I got Colyn.
Hello.
And also with me, and I got James.
Hello. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, so these are two of my Warhammer buddies.
He's a cat person.
That is a gross lie. I am
That's
not
a lie from
cat
Satan.
person. That is, I have a dog. I
okay.
can prove I'm not a cat
Oh yeah,
person.
what's its name? Oh, he stuttered.
You don't even remember. What's wrong with you?
Wow. Well,
What kind of a dog person are you?
Not a very good one.
Apparently. So
Clearly.
I met James. I don't know how I even met you, James. You're a friend of a friend of a friend. But I don't
Well,
even-
okay, Eric had this like sports team, and I got on it somehow by
Yeah.
inviting myself. Very rudely, might I add. I
yes.
invited myself.
Yes.
And then afterwards, I've always wanted to play Warhammer, but kind of been a little bit of a wuss when it came to actually putting down the money
I
for
don't
it.
want to spend $1,000.
It's so hard. Do I
I'll
want to
just play
buy
Call of
food
Duty.
or?
Yeah.
So then Eric was like, "Oh, I play Warhammer," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll just make the plunge." And I spent a lot of money and ended up at your house one day.
Yes,
So-
yes, perfect. So another random person in my garage that
Yes,
I've never met. But
exactly.
It didn't end in murder this time, which
No.
I'm happy about.
No, I have all fingers and toes as of this week when this was recorded. So that's good to know.
Yeah. And also we have Colyn here.
Hello,
Colyn,
hello. Yeah.
How did I meet you?
well, it was an interesting
It
story.
wasn't Tinder, was it?
No.
Grinder, Jordan. If it's two dudes, it's Grinder.
No, not necessarily. I know this.
Trust me, I've put on both genders on my Tinder before. It makes it more fun, to be honest. Just
Yeah.
do it, even if you don't want to. It's
Aren't
just-
you married?
Don't tell her. She'll never watch this anyway.
So you don't have dogs and you actually don't have a wife either. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
The moral of the story
you are
is
just
my
a
life is a
chronic
lie.
liar. Yes. Good.
I don't even know who I'm sitting right next to right now. No, we actually met. I don't know. We haven't come up with a name. I think some people on the Facebook group were trying to come up with names of what you
Yeah.
call fans of Lorehammer.
Yeah,
I really liked Laurelus, but I had actually reached out. I had sent you guys a message on Facebook, and very quickly Mark claimed ownership of the conversation, kicked out Eric, and we've been
Changed
chatting.
the password to Facebook so he couldn't steal you.
Yeah, and we've been chatting ever since. So.
Yeah, and we went for wings one day. It was cool, and then I invited you back to my place, and things got heated. We talked
It was,
about,
but I was prepared, and I actually brought what helped me live through the experience, because meeting someone strange on the internet, you know, that could be a bit of a scary experience. But I have something I haven't shown you, Mark, and I've got it in my bag right now.
Okay,
so
show
this actually
me.
helped me through our first meeting.
Okay. I'm just hoping it's a picture of me.
So this is my purity seal
Yes,
that I kept in my car. Praise be to the Omnissiah, and it helped me. And this, I'm going to hand this off to you for this podcast here to make sure that we can survive this experience here together. And it should also help ward Eric's soul from coming back from the warp
And haunting us, yes.
We'll have to take a picture of that with both of you guys for the...
Yeah. I want to read it out loud, but you guys know how that would end up. I would ruin it. I would take a cool thing and I would ruin it. But read some of these. They're pretty cool.
Okay, so
Pick a couple cool ones
All
that you
right,
like.
so,
it's a purity seal, and it's all like weathered, and it's like the edges are crisped and burnt. Looks pretty fucking sweet, actually.
and purity seal is typically used by who, Mark?
Virgins.
Imperium.
Virgins, right?
Yes, yes.
That's how you indicate I've never been with a woman, is you put multiple of these on your body. Right?
What does it say about me making one and
I
bringing
don't
it out?
know.
But then you're giving it to me. So
I'm giving you my purity mark.
Is it some sort of pseudo like grim dark chastity belt?
yes, yes.
Actually, we do know that it has a lot of roots in old. I think it's we're talking about like medieval age era,
like
of,
Victorian kind of.
well, predates that. It's just a way of protecting yourself. Like the example that I saw was the German flagellants who would lash their bodies. They would also wear protective seals. So this one here is I play Adeptus Mechanicus, and so some of the things on here are the great mysteries and the warnings of the Mechanicus. So things to remember to seek and things to be aware of. So some of them would include
Yeah, get to voice pretty. Yeah. Let me massage it.
intelligence is the understanding of knowledge.
Perfect. Yes. It's
good.
above my pay grade to understand, but it sounds good.
Understanding is the true path to the Omnissiah.
That's pretty good.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all, and life is directed motion.
Perfect.
And then you get some of the warnings that don't go to people's houses at midnight
Yeah,
after you
yeah.
met them at Wings.
Yeah.
But also, the
Yeah.
the soulless sentience is the enemy of all life. The machine
Perfect.
spirit guards the knowledge of the ancients. So just a bunch of little lore, goofy stuff, but
Yeah.
something that I'll just attach to my iPad here till the end of the episode, and that's
pretty
all
sweet,
yours,
man.
sir. So enjoy.
So you made that then?
yeah, I just did that in a couple minutes here. So
Just to be clear, I think it's cool
That's
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not making fun of you.
Yeah, we'll post a
promise.
picture of it. It's pretty cool.
may it carry us through this episode.
Through our orc episode, this seal of purity. Yeah. Okay.
Beware the Xenos.
Okay. So I got a couple questions for you guys, and then yeah. So Colin, what gives you the nerve to hang out with random people on the internet?
Well, how dare I?
How dare you?
How dare I? Well,
You know what? I'm not even gonna answer. James, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What gives you the nerve to beat me at Warhammer today?
I think I'm gonna honestly give the credit to you, and I'm gonna say that you turned off your magical abilities to roll sixes every single time we play, because
Okay.
you do seem to have this ability
Loaded,
to roll
not
all the
loaded
dice.
but
I agree.
You see,
yeah. I've had that
somehow,
experience, too.
somehow, you always roll what you need to roll, and today you didn't. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity.
and Jordan, I got a question for you. What gives you the nerve to turn me on?
Well, it's not something I'm trying to do.
But it's happening.
It just
comes
happens.
naturally.
Yeah.
it's your sheer charisma, sir.
Yeah.
So now that we're all
like
feeling good about ourselves and my orientation has been affirmed. Yeah. Oh, my brother's calling me. Do I hang up on my brother?
Yes.
He is a suicidal person though if I don't hang up. Uh-oh. I'll be hearing about that. Yeah, so we'll do a couple more quick things. Thanks everyone for donating to Patreon. We got a couple
Yes.
people. We got Camden, and I can't even say this guy's name. Is it even a name?
Garpillion? Or
There you go.
Garpillon?
Yeah, okay.
Garpillon?
This is Eric's use. This is where we'll find Eric's uses are in his ability to read.
Just make sense of the written word.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
thank you to these people,
Yeah, no, honestly, thank you a lot. We appreciate it. We got a couple people buying stuff on Redbubble, and turns out pretty cool. Woody, our greatest fan and donator. Dude's a madman. I love him. But yeah, he bought like a cool notebook or whatever. Just like, and it has Lorehammer on the front. I'm like, what are you even gonna do with that? And I'm expecting like an answer like, oh, I'm gonna play like, or put like my wins and losses or something.
Battle reports
Exactly.
or something.
But he's like, no, I'm gonna take it to work and write notes in it. And I guess he works for the army or something like that.
awesome.
So he's
It's a
gonna-
badass looking logo
Yeah.
for a badass looking book to carry.
Yeah,
around,
so I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's cool. So yeah, just if you guys want Lorehammer merch, check out Redbubble. If you want to support us, check out Patreon. If you want to just listen, that's fine too. I don't know.
Yeah, Redbubble's sweet too because you can buy things you actually need, and then just if you attach our logo, it helps us a little out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
little
Sweet.
kickback, little good.
yeah.
So
Thanks, Woody.
no,
You're like our George Soros, our secret funder.
he's been in like a hobby funk this week, and he's like, oh man, I've been in a hobby funk. What are you up to today? Like, inspire me. So I'm like, oh, I'll take a couple pictures of mine and James's games, and then I didn't. So I apologize for that. I left him high and dry.
Just imagine a whole bunch of
Do you know
Guys
the color
getting slaughtered.
gray? Oh.
in that wall. whole bunch of Space Marines just kicking butt, and you'll have a good idea of what happened today.
Yeah, it was not a good game for me. But you actually, like, you're pretty new to Warhammer.
Yes,
And I definitely seen like you improved that game. Like you did some good moves.
So much easier to get better at the game if you just have no life and spend your weekends watching people play online.
Yes.
And just don't have friends. It's
those-
really easy.
What is it? It's 2,000 hours before you become a master at something. You know,
there you
that's
go.
that measurement. So
Oh, it's like
congratulations.
10,000
There you go.
hours,
Oh
yeah.
wow! Well then, I'm an overachiever. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
How'd you get introduced to orcs, James? Like, or
Orcs?
the hobby in general?
Man, you see, back in the day, I really liked the Lord of the Rings ones, and I was intimidated by the immensity of the 40K universe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say price.
Oh no, the price. I
Immense
had a lot
price,
of Lord of
too.
the Rings
Yes, yes.
guys, so the price wasn't the biggest deal. It's just that the lore is so massive
Yeah.
that it's hard to really like. I don't know what does any of this mean. And even when I started playing in about January is when I really started buying stuff. It's like I started painting stuff and I realized, oh, that made no sense. So I'll just like repaint it. Oh, that was also made no sense. So I guess I'll have to strip that and paint that again. So
At least you didn't do anything truly heretical, like I don't know, just off the top of my head, like female Space Marines or something truly heretical.
Oh,
You know,
I did put a Templar symbol on my Space Wolves Crusader. Is that pretty bad? That
while
sounds pretty
heretical,
bad.
it's not punishable.
Okay, cool. That's
Yes.
good. That's good. I can stay
Just
here.
find some like random Xenos and make an Imperial emblem on them or something like that.
This is my Orc Inquisitor, everyone.
So James, be honest, when you heard that me and Eric had a podcast about Warhammer, because like when we first started hanging out, you weren't really into the lore as much as like the game
No.
itself. And then we're like, oh, check out our podcast. Did you think it was going to be awful?
I thought, oh my God, these guys are nerds.
Ah, yes.
But no, I checked it out because I work from home, so I have a lot of spare time to listen to things. So I put it on. You guys are pretty comprehensive with stuff. It's a good balance of jokes and knowledge. So that works out
And
good.
none of it's true.
None of it is real, but
yeah.
it's still fun.
Good stuff. Okay, so I got a game here today. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. It's probably going to be awful, but I have titled it Interactive Word Story. And the way this game works is I will say a word, and then we go around the circle, and we make a sentence. But it has to be 40K related, and you have to get somebody killed. Last person to survive wins, I guess. But if you just like, if I'm like I, and then Jordan's like kill, and then Colin's like James, you know, you're dead for not being creative. You know, so you got to try to be creative and kill the other people in the game.
All right.
So
Who starts? You?
yes,
Okay.
Are we going clockwise or counterclockwise?
I'll leave it into your capable hands to decide, Jordan. What do you want to do?
Well, I want to be last, so counterclockwise.
Okay. The
Slippery.
Brute.
Are
never
On
The.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Now I think you're out. I think that will be
I'm
the
dead.
third rule. If you can't finish the sentence, so you can kill somebody that way, or you can kill them in real life.
Okay.
Okay,
So
sorry,
I'm
Jordan.
dead.
You're very much dead.
Okay. What was the last word?
the.
I think we start a new sentence now.
I would think so.
Yeah.
That sounds fair.
Okay, I'm not starting it this
All
time.
right. Okay. Terra.
Oh, I guess it's me.
I'm dead.
Exploded,
When
Aliens.
attacked,
Mark's
House.
Did you kill me? I think I just died there.
he might be dead.
I think I'm dead. I'm dead.
I like this game,
This is
James.
pretty fun.
All
Kill
right.
the regulars. That's what I say.
Uh-oh, we're being usurped.
The podcast is now ours, so that's
All right.
wonderful.
Well, we can just dispense with the game and continue with just the two of us, right?
All right,
That's how
so
this works.
All right, so thank you for tuning into Lorehammer. I'm
Shut it
here today
down.
with James.
Shut it down. All right, you too.
Okay,
start?
I will start. James,
Wasn't,
dead.
but
His friend.
Oh, that's 2 words.
Oh, dang it. That means I'm dead.
I would say you're dead.
I'm dead. There's a win.
All right.
There we go. So if you want to play that game at home at Christmas time, it's a great way to just build relationships.
Start with the word guilt. Or, you never meant to love me. And it's just going to get really...
really deep, really quick. Yeah. So that's all I think. We're going to talk about orcs today. Ork Warlords. Me and Christian got into this huge fight. I'm like, there is no such thing as an Ork Warlord. They're Ork war bosses. And I was wrong. So here's my formal apology to Christian. And he'll have what's coming to him.
You look very affected by the news.
Deeply. So we're going to talk first about like their hierarchy and like how they actually become a warlord, which is like their highest title or rank or position. So the orcs, as we've talked about before, they're based all on like strength of arms or like cunning. Like you either kill somebody or you stab them in the back, and that's how you advance. We also know like a lot about like their physiology, that the more they fight, the bigger they get. The bigger they get, the stronger they get, the more rank they get, the higher they rise in the ranks. Mm-hmm. Yes. And
you nailed it.
I did it.
You did it.
1 for 1. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay, next sentence.
Okay. So you're playing an interactive word game with yourself right now.
Oh, it's tough, man. I never know what's going to happen next. It's messed up. So we'll start at the lowest rank and we'll work our way up. Colin, you want to take it away with boys?
Sure. So boys, to my understanding, we've got the lowest rank. We've got kind of the cannon fodder of the orcs that you'll see on the tabletop, rushing forward with shooters, and they've got the axes and choppas.
Sluggers.
Now, we're just talking mainly about orcs, like big, green, musculature monsters.
Sexy.
Very. Not including, though, things like further down their food chain, things like squigs.
Yeah.
Like we're talking green orcs, the top of the food chain,
yeah,
and how it branches out.
Yeah, because you'll never find like a powerful squig. Like you'll never find a squig in charge of a Waaagh.
Oh, hey, if you want to make that on your tabletop, you got a great conversion.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I should never use the word never. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't find.
You shouldn't. I don't.
Shouldn't.
It's not very common, You're not going to find, the great squig M999.32 laying, raising Mars. But,
yeah.
But so for boys, boys are really what you'll see in a lot of the art for 40K.
Yeah.
It's most cinematics actually do have them included in that.
Oh yeah.
They're like the most common representation of orcs that you see.
It said like in 40K, like orcs are the most numerous race,
and
boys are the most numerous orcs. So
Totally.
like they're the most numerous in the entire galaxy.
Yeah,
but
and they are an excellent representation of kind of that villainous nature, because they are both crazy and scary when they need to be in large numbers, but they're also cracking jokes. And you'll find that as you move up the tier, it seems like a lot of these the orcs get a little bit less funny and a little bit more grimdark, a lot more killy. So boys do have
killer. Sorry,
more
my
killers.
bad. Yes,
boys are able to kind of joke around. They're there for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But as we go through this list, they're gonna get a little bit more articulate. Actually, they get smarter.
Yeah.
These guys, kind of slow. They might get shot, not realize what exactly happened, pick up their arms, strap it back, and just keep rushing forward with a great big Waaagh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so they're basically the cannon fodder, the basic boy. Like that's where you start. You're born a boy.
Does anyone know like what the survival rate, if there is one, of an orc boys?
I think that would depend if they're at war with themselves or at war with other races like the Imperium or Eldar. I would imagine that if life expectancy during an orc Waaagh is you're all directed to one purpose. So until you get to the front, things are probably going pretty good. You're just bumping up against each other on
just a mosh pit of orcs, and then you get to the front, and then it's more of a meat grinder.
Yes,
of orcs.
But we do know that just in the numbers that orc appear. One of the examples, like for people who've been watching Hell's Reach, the YouTube animated series, like It's probably not that long. They don't wear like flak jackets on boys. It's
Yeah.
t-shirts. Even for armor saves. If you're looking at the tabletop, there's not a lot to stop them from getting blown up. And when
Yeah.
they do, it's in glorious fashion.
And everybody's loving it.
Everybody's loving it.
Everyone's laughing, even the one who just died.
Even the orc next to him, he's like, ah,
And then he steals his boot.
and he does.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
what's the real question is who has a longer life expectancy, an orc boy or one of those Imperial Guard? Because we know how long they last,
Oh,
which
this
is not
true.
very
Yes,
long.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be
I would say
interesting.
they survive 1 extra hour.
One extra hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
they're
just
better.
enough
It's like a
time for the Space
lifetime.
Marine. Yeah, just enough time for the Space Marine drop pods to land, and then that's
Oh,
usually
okay, then
when
it's
they
over.
die. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. So that's the bottom of the barrel. Eventually, you start fighting, you grow, and you get stronger, and eventually, you petition your way up through violence, and you reach the next rank called a knob. And a knob is like it's like a sergeant. It's it's a leader type character, but he doesn't lead through inspiration. He leads through. Any guesses?
Kind words.
There we go. Yes, and
that
a
it?
firm handshake.
Emotional intelligence.
No, violence. Violence.
Oh,
yes, yes.
okay. I was so close.
You
Yeah.
were.
Just change
it's
all the
fine.
letters in that word and remove one.
Yeah. So knobs
two.
and their lead boys around, and they're usually assert their authority over the boys. And as any hierarchy works, like that the boys report to the knobs, and knobs report to the so and so, blah blah blah, and we'll work our way up. But the knobs basically, they control a group of boys and use them for basically meat shields until he can get close and chop people up with his power claw. So after that, we have boss knobs. They are knobs who have gotten together. They've gotten stronger and bigger once again, growing in size. Now they're about 10 feet tall, so that's always pleasant. And they form a group of knobs, and then one of them will take control of the knobs and will become a boss knob. So he's, the biggest and strongest of the knobs. And that's
Big old knob.
big old.
So
there we go.
So once
Big old knob.
with bigger and stronger knobs, you're gonna start getting into territory of war bosses.
Yeah.
And war boss is kind of they're kind of like a chieftain. They
Exactly.
they collect all of the loot and the spoils from their war. They dictate orders. They dictate what the mission or what the even if there's no plan, they're determining the direction that the army is going to be going.
Would my wife be considered a war boss? Because it sounds like you're describing her.
You know what?
Interesting.
If
She guides
yeah.
me. She takes all the loot.
She's
Green
rules
and
with
oversized.
violence.
No, we never talk about that. I'm just talking about their mentality, not about their...
Okay.
My wife is supple.
I don't know if she's a
Young.
war boss, but you're definitely more of a Gretchen to me, Mark.
Yes,
so,
yes. No, I accept that. Yeah, yeah.
So yes,
I'm
the answer
crafty
is
and
yes.
quick.
You're crafty.
Not quick of mind.
Oh,
Colin. Quick of body.
Sorry. So a war boss. They're very easily distinguishable because, well, first of all, they're very bossy, and they tend to be a lot bigger than
Yeah.
the boys or the knobs. They grow up to 9 feet, 3 meters tall or bigger.
Yeah.
And general, as a rule of thumb, the bigger the war boss is, the more successful he is because of the combined power of the orcs, or that he's fighting other forces that kind of necessitate him to grow bigger.
Yeah.
And with each survival, he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so a bunch of boss knobs will then report to him, and knobs will report to the boss knobs, and so up goes the hierarchy.
Yeah.
And the last on the totem pole, I guess we should talk one more thing about war bosses, is that they lead the Waaagh. And for those of you who've listened to the episodes before, or even remotely done anything 40k, you know what a Waaagh is. It's when a bunch of orcs get together, they yell Waaagh.
How do you yell Waaagh? James?
That's the worst.
You see, there's some good ones because I was playing actually with the sales on Steam. I was playing the Space Marine game,
Perfect.
and they have a very good wah. It's very convincing.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can appreciate it.
Okay.
So that's mine.
I don't know. Yeah, like what you said.
Yeah, ditto.
Wow.
Guttural.
Yeah, yeah.
Calling your
Like a
voice,
werewolf?
voice man. Like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He just summoned a demon into you. Perfect. But so war bosses will end up leading Waaghs, just a huge gathering a huge mob of orcs. Eventually, enough war bosses will meet in one spot, or even if 2 war bosses meet in one spot, they'll fight each other, and one will. Most of these fights aren't deadly either.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't think it's like meant to kill. It's meant to like assert your dominance, right?
That's interesting.
But
Okay.
like, I could be wrong. I could be misreading this. But in my mind, like, you don't want to kill your best man, like.
Unless he's going to come back and stab you in the back, you know.
But then you kill him again because you're the biggest and the strongest.
But the way they structure this, it seems to me that it's less of a society and more of a survival of the fittest on a very quick scale. So like just everybody's killing each other constantly unless they're directed at something.
Yeah.
So maybe they would want to kill your best man because you're always just like, you're trying to get bigger yourself. So the bigger you can get, the more fights you can be in, the more wins you get.
Yeah.
It might be to your advantage to make you even better.
Yeah.
It might actually be because, or at least orcs in fiction, kind of follow like, you know, the era before Tolkien, right? Where it's like orcs are just menacing monsters. There's no nobility there.
Yeah.
And then we see at the, you know, in the 90s with Warcraft really rising to prominence in popular culture that orcs, oh, well, there's a bit of a nobility there. There's a bit of like a clan honor system.
Yeah, yeah.
Orcs
I was reading, sorry, as an aside, I was reading that knob means noble.
Yeah.
That
in Orcish.
in Orcish.
Yeah.
So it is like to what you're saying.
Yeah.
There is something to that.
It's interesting though where 40K populates that from, where it pulls its influences, because you will get orcs that are just rampaging and the menace is in their eyes, and then you'll have them where they can be a little bit funny, or they can actually be a little bit noble, like letting Commissar Yarrick like leave the field because it'll be more fun. There's a little bit of a nobility to that actually in being like survival of the fittest, like you're saying, James. It's very interesting and flexible, and I enjoyed that about the orcs.
Yeah, maybe they can just be whatever you want them to be.
Wow. Yes, they can. But yeah, like deep. But yeah, so war bosses will get in a fight with each other, whether they die or not. I'm sure it depends on the war boss too.
So what happens if one war boss kills another? Does he like engulf his army basically?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why I think that they like to keep them alive, because then he's in command of the guy who already commands the army.
Oh, I see.
But like he's already beat him down. Like I see him like maybe like cutting off an arm or like really pinning him down and like embarrassing and like really asserting his authority over the other war boss. But at the end of the day, like then he doesn't have to worry about then trying to take over the entire tribe, because as soon as that war boss is done or dead, then a bunch of knobs below him are then going to challenge the new war boss. Where if you already have an established war boss, like then there's not going to be
at least 1 degree of separation.
Exactly. Then you don't have 1,000 knobs just like, I'm going to challenge the new war boss, you know? That's why I like to think, in my mind anyways, that it's not always deadly. Of course it probably sometimes definitely always happens.
Well, you know what the orc chain of command is, right? It's the thing they beat you with all the way down the chain of command. It's top dog wins.
Yeah.
And you just keep moving your way up the chain.
Yeah, exactly.
So what? Okay, so you were corrected. The difference between a war boss and a warlord.
Yes.
What is a warlord?
Okay, so a warlord is in charge of huge Waaghs. So where a war boss is just in charge of one Waaagh, a warlord will be in charge of multiple Waaghs and will have multiple war bosses underneath him, and he will guide all of them together. So it's, amped up to 10.
It's probably also the great influence of the old ones. It's one leader for the entire race. That throughout 40K fiction, it's like if the orcs ever go under one leader, the galaxy is screwed.
Yeah, that quote's always so funny to me, because it always it always irks me, because it's like the orcs are like maybe they're the second, or they might be the oldest race in all of 40K, like because they're created with the Eldar, and so Necron would be older than them.
Yeah.
Eldar might be older than them, or at the same time. So who knows? But they've had 60 million years to conquer the galaxy. They never have. Yeah. They're not uniting. Orc players, I'm sorry, it's not happening. You're not taking the galaxy.
But the promise of Gazgul,
oh,
man.
yes, yeah, the guy who can't even take a single planet. Okay, yeah, let's rally to him now.
I'm sure we'll get to him, though, later in the episode,
we will.
too.
And I'll rant and I'll rave, and people will be like, Mark's a fucking retard. But I'm having fun, and that's all that matters to me and my mom. Who gives
Are there generally like warlords fighting each other, or is it just mostly war bosses fighting each other?
Like, I imagine you would have eventually 2 warlords fight each other.
Yeah.
But
there's probably not a lot of warlords.
no,
Yeah.
like even when we're going through like all the war bosses and stuff, I only really found a handful
Yeah.
of like actual certified warlords.
Yeah.
So
And also because of that psychic energy of the Waaagh, it's about who's got the bigger force, who's the bigger orc. The
Yeah.
minute that one warlord enters another war boss's like ecosystem, they automatically feel it. They know that
Yeah.
that guy's bigger. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
unless that war boss has big aspirations and bigger muscles to match,
yeah.
it's probably not going to go down that way. It'll
Yeah.
maybe get absorbed or join the rest of the Waaagh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So those are really the main ranks or tiers. They also have one other thing that Christian really wants me to mention, and they're called Scar Boys, and they're basically like veterans. They call them Scar Boys because they've got through like combat, they've gotten tons of scars over the years, but they're not so much like a leadership rank necessarily as they are like just a veteran, right? But yeah, so there's that. We also
Sorry, just as a quick aside, I was reading there are a number of specialist knobs.
yeah.
You guys probably don't want to get into it, but in case people want to read further.
Yeah, no, it's worth mentioning. Like
Yeah.
you could have like mech knobs,
Yeah.
mecha knobs, or commando knobs, and
Yeah.
it breaks down definitely into
Yeah,
that level
yeah.
of detail. The other thing that I really came across and was pretty obviously obvious was orcs love to give themselves titles. Mm-hmm. You step on a worm, now you're worm stomper. You know, so they have titles for like every orc worth his salt's gonna have a title. Let's throw out some fun titles now. I had mine.
Okay. Let's see. Maybe I was walking down the street, I tripped. Oh, hurt my back. Now I am back puller. No, you mean about doing something to other people?
Yes.
Oh,
Usually
okay.
it's about inflicting violence upon others, not your own back.
Ed Taker.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect orky name.
Already taken, but love it.
James?
Oh gosh. Well, what if you like stepped on a crack when you were walking down that same road
Yeah.
and then you broke your mother's back?
Mother breaker.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I don't know if they have mothers, but still, it sounds
It
mother
sounds
breaker.
scary. And
yes.
oh, why would you hurt a mother? That sounds so mean. But
That guy must be tough.
That's that orc. He's a mean guy.
Exactly.
Tooth puller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, have you ever accidentally broken some drywall? You could be like wall buster.
Exactly. Whether you fell through it or you punched it,
Yeah.
you're still the wall buster.
Yeah, you're the
That's
wall.
actually part of the orc humor, though. It could be a complete mistake that gives them their name.
Yeah.
Or it can be something super dark.
Yeah.
And it's great. They can do both.
One of the funny things too about their titles is like sometimes they'll give them a title depending on the planet you're from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have billions of orcs named, the planet's name.
Yeah.
I'm not creative enough to come up with the planet.
Sheridan.
Sheridan.
Okay.
Sheridan is not an orky name.
No, but like if they go and they take over a planet,
Yeah, yeah.
because there is the arch arsonist of Sheridan.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would have said it with more of a C or a K sound.
Sheridan.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, deeper register, orky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Sheridan.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a makeup brand. Sheridan for orcs.
Isn't that a hotel chain?
Sheraton.
Sheraton.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, we're close.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're not plugging them. I do not recommend staying with them.
Unless they sponsor the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you looking for a great hotel for a low price?
Yeah.
Don't go to Sheraton because we're not sponsoring them.
5 Seasons Cadia is ready for you. Too soon? Too soon?
Yeah, so orcs love their titles. So we're going to start to talk about a bunch of, like, on Lexicanum and on Wikia, I found so many. There's, like, probably around 100, but these were my highlights of what I found were just like, oh, that guy's pretty cool, or that guy has a good sense of humor. So, yeah, we'll start with, he's called The Beast, and this is an M32. Colin, have you read the Beast series?
I have The Beast Arises.
Okay, yeah, you take it away
yeah.
because I haven't read it. I just know synopses and stuff.
Really, the best way to get into the beast, and spoiler warning for those of you listening, we may talk about some of the details of the series because there is one really interesting thing about the identity of the beast that we'll get into. But the beast led the largest Ork Waaagh in the history of the galaxy. We'll get into the 41st millennium later, but the beast encountered the Imperium and started making a beeline for Holy Terra, and was just conquest after conquest. And if you're reading through the book, it's kind of what you picture as emblematic of what orcs are in good fantasy, good science fiction. It's this incredible green tide of monsters that are being pushed by this war boss who is actually very articulate, very intelligent. When you think about a way that the orc speaks in a very guttural, kind of quippy, funny accent, and you get something that can actually speak in High Gothic, that's weird. And you're realizing that you're not just dealing with a crazed warlord, a barbarian, but you're dealing with someone who could be going toe-to-toe with a Primarch.
Yeah.
Which is, we actually get to that in
Yes,
the series as well.
Yeah.
But very intelligent, noted for advancing orc culture, sent emissaries to kind of go and threaten people, which is, I can just imagine that later on in the 40K universe, what it would be like if the orcs actually encountered the Tau, the water cast.
Yeah.
What that would even look like. You move. No, you move.
Yeah.
It'd
be a good time, I think.
But
I think they'll all walk away happy.
That's the typical 40K way of doing things.
I think so.
Everybody wins and everybody is happy.
But here's the spoiler warning if you haven't read the books yet. The beast is not one orc.
Yeah, and this always threw me for a loop because I haven't read the books, but it's actually how many?
6 orcs.
Which
are
stitch themselves together centipede style.
No, they're separate. They're
okay.
Yeah.
Stitch orc. Oh God! All the names are now going through my mind of the things you could stitch it to.
But there's some parts that you should not. But yeah.
But he was the orc. The myth of the beast was that he was as big as a city block.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable for an orc size. Just rampaging around. Some sightings were that he was inside battle armor, so you couldn't actually see the orc. It was just this metal case.
Yeah.
You know that malice and the little red eyes are behind it. But as you'd find out that the Primorks were probably about the size of Gargants, which is one of the mechanical weapon systems, I guess. That sounds a lot more, intelligent. Literally, it's just plates smashed together with guns out of every orifice. But the 6 Primorks.
It's like if Red Green tried to build like something. That's how orcs build.
Oh my God, that's a perfect reference.
Right?
Yeah. A little bit of duct tape.
Yeah, exactly.
Good old-fashioned Canadian hero, that guy.
Yeah. But so like for those of you who don't know the size of a Gargant, they're said to be, or the Primorks anyways, are said to be 10 meters tall, or if you're American, like 33 feet or whatever that would work out to. 33.311-79.
Yeah. And the beast was notable. He had an attack moon, which in any franchise is awesome. A moon. I actually picture it, for anyone who's a Transformers fan, I kind of just picture this thing looking like Unicron, just this giant head of an orc floating through space, opening its mouth and blowing up entire, it almost destroys the entire Imperial Fist chapter that's in the way.
Yeah.
So
like one survives or something.
Yeah. Eventually finds his way to Vulcan, which the details for that are a little hazy. It's been a while, but I know that he fights Vulcan and
violence
ensues.
Yes.
And
I think like they're fighting each other, and for like the longest time neither of them can get the upper hand, and then Vulcan like ends up like tackling him into like a plasma generator or something, and they end up getting blown up. Vulcan survives, and the Primork has disappeared.
And that's actually which kind of begins the next stage, which is the second invasion of Ulanor, where we've got the beast is still alive, and it's very
like, I thought I killed him.
It's very good serialized storytelling to be like, but I killed him last issue. Let me figure out what's going on, and that's kind of the reveal that these gigantic Prime Orcs are commanding their own legions. There's more than one, which is actually very different than the way we can imagine orcs being led by different warlords. We think
they don't like sharing power.
No, and
there's always an alpha.
So what would it be like in the 40K universe if we actually could get multiple warlords of this stature?
Yeah,
because we're always going to one person in charge, whether
Yeah.
it's, Eldrad for the Eldar. Some people want him in charge, whether it's the Emperor, whether it's the Fabricator General. We like these ideas of these figureheads at the top.
Yeah.
But if orcs could actually work together, we see the devastation that they can wreak.
Yes, I can conquer the galaxy. Sorry, too dismissive.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But yes.
A little spiteful.
Hey, well, you still have the Tau being all communist. That's still in there. There's still some working together in there somewhere.
True.
Yeah, so, yeah.
For the greater good.
For the communists, for the Red Tide.
So, how was the beast taken care of?
So, I believe, from my understanding, is they went and they laid siege on Ulanor, like the Orks' homeworld. And what they did is they brought a bunch of Sisters of Silence with them, which are, we've maybe mentioned them, but they're psychic blanks. We've mentioned blanks for sure. You guys want me to go on a blank rant? I'm doing it.
Oh, no.
You lost your moment. No, but blanks,
Save
they're
yourself,
like
James.
Run. They're like anti-warp humans, and so they were able to create like a huge backlash in the warp, which like reverberated through all the orcs and ended up like being too much for their psychic mind, and it like blew them all up. So they were said to have killed all the prime orcs in this psychic
The
backlash.
beast class orcs were killed.
Yeah. In this psychic backlash. But I don't know if it was confirmed or not that they actually all died. I haven't read the book. I don't know.
If there's no body, you can never be sure.
Because this might be one of those things where they're like, when the Ork Codex comes out, maybe they bring back one of the beast. Right?
Or maybe
And,
one
like,
of the current orcs is turning into
I've
a
heard that
beast.
too, that Gazkul is getting like a new Ork Prime model or whatever, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it makes sense. Like, why couldn't he just get bigger and bigger and bigger, even though he's never conquered a single planet? Not big-
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
He's failing forward, Mark.
That's like my life.
The beast is defeated at Ulanor, and the planet is renamed.
What is it renamed to?
Armageddon.
Oh, you mean that one planet that Thraka can never conquer ever?
Well, to his credit, Chaos Space Marines and Demons are having a hard time taking it either. So.
Oh yeah, but they're the whipping boys.
True, but being situated as kind of the big bad now in 40K
Yeah.
since the Cicatrix Maledictum opened up,
Yeah.
Everyone's, this is for the orcs, it's kind of a holy land.
Yeah, yeah.
For Chaos, it's it's a prime Imperium planet.
Yeah.
And who
For
knows?
the Tau, they
Yeah.
just want to.
It's sunny Bermuda. It's their vacation land.
Yeah, perfect. So that's basically the beast. They were 6 guys. They were the most powerful. They had led the largest Waaagh ever known to exist. Next, we'll jump to probably the second most famous, and that is Gazkul Meg Urk Thraka.
You did it.
Word.
You did it.
I looked down and I read, so
That's a good word.
Yes.
Thraka.
Thraka is a great threatening name.
Like, I guess is it a word? I guess it's technically a word. It's a noun.
I think it's a sound that a gun makes, or like a claw closing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. It just sounds so cool. It's fun to say Thraka. I
you're
just
gonna be
like
whispering
it.
that into your wife's ear tonight. Go to bed, James.
Lorehammer gets renamed
Go
to
sleep on another
Thraka Hammer.
bed, James.
No, just Thraka. No hammer. Just
Oh my gosh.
You can only say it in whispered tone.
Rusty, come. Yeah. So Thraka is a part of the Goth clan. We've talked about clans. I don't want to go into them, but they're Goth clans during M41 on a backworld planet called Urk, and he's currently known now for having the largest Waaagh and is the largest war boss. But let's go back to his origins. He was first mentioned 9 years before the Second War for the planet Armageddon, and he was just like a lowly orc boy and bottom of the bottom.
I'm just a poor boy.
Look at my
He started
poor
from the bottom.
shoes.
Now he's here.
He came from the bottom. Now he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, many of these things are a thing. Yes.
Him and Drake.
And what happened is on the planet Urk, Space Marines, through like prognosticators or whatever, visioned or prophesied that this planet was going to be a key orc uprising. So they went to that planet and they laid waste to it, basically. They sieged the planet and tried to kill as many orcs as they possibly could. During this fighting, Thraka took a bolter round to the face, and half of his 30%. Don't want people to get jumpy on me. 30% of his brain was destroyed, and he was in a coma. And there's another orc pain boy called Mad Doc Grotznik, I think his name's called. And he ended up stitching Thraka back together and like removed the bullet and put like an adamantium skull in his face. And when he awoke, Thraka like woke up in a startled start, and he's like, I am now the voice of Gork and Mork. Like, I have envisioned them, I have seen them, in an orky voice, so. But not so political.
On the subject of orc voice,
Yes.
why are they always Cockney? I want to know this because everywhere
That's a
I've
deep
ever
trail.
heard an orc speak, it's always in a Cockney accent. Lord of the Rings, all Cockney. I was playing again the Space Marines game.
Yeah.
They're all Cockney.
Yeah.
Why?
Sure.
There's actually a
They're
good
trash.
answer for this. So we talked
They
about
stereotype Cockney people.
Yeah.
That's the only answer.
Cockney
Wait, I
people are
thought they-
basically orcs, right? They're just low class, ugly.
I thought it was
That's
bright.
not-
I thought
to
bright
all
were
of the
orcs.
listeners across the pond, we are very sorry.
We didn't come up with this. This
was your people
pop
doing
culture.
this.
Pop culture did this to you.
Don't ask what pop culture can do for you.
Yes.
But what it can do to you. So orcs, many races in 40k do have a historical analog. Many of the imperial, the Primarchs and their legions have a real historical heritage. Whether it's the Romans, whether it's the Byzantines,
Yeah.
For orcs, they are actually
British people.
Close.
football hooligans.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
And just it's kind of strange to think,
funny.
but
They're rowdy.
they're rowdy. It's a gang. That's not the right word for it, but it's you're throwing a fight,
Yeah.
and whether you win or lose, you're having a great time.
Yeah.
I think
Do
that
they drink a lot of beer?
Yeah. Fucking spear. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Now you know.
Now I know.
the closest other example I could find for where their historical archetypes came from actually was okay. So Mark, I'm going to make you do it again. Pronounce his name, Gazgul's name, the full name.
Gazkul Meg Urk Thraka.
Okay, Meg Uruk Thraka. Okay, the last name of
Okay.
it, Meg Uruk Thraka.
Okay, so those are three
Margaret
different words.
Thatcher.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. She's
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah. So trying to pull some.
Now, for people out there who don't know who that is, not me, but
That's
just
that's the Iron Lady from the UK.
explain further for other
Jordan.
people who don't know.
That she was like the first female prime minister of the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
She had a bit of a reputation.
yeah. She was like a very like she was
uncompromising, I think.
yeah
is the
like
word.
she was kind of like alpha a little bit, and like a
She went to war with Argentina.
yeah.
Okay.
She was.
She cut social welfare programs.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's kind of funny because it does line up with strength through power. Don't worry about the social components. Let's just work and get things done, which the orcs are very much like, I don't care about the culture. I just want to pillage and raise the worlds around me.
Yeah.
So it's Games Workshop kind of in their lore populating these funny little nods.
That's a funny
I've
little.
never heard that one actually.
No,
But-
Mag
yeah.
Uruk.
I guess
funny.
it does make sense because like this whole game originated in the UK, so
And
a lot
then-
of the culture would be steeped in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lorehammer dropping knowledge bombs on
Yeah.
you.
Well, one of the things that I do appreciate, this is slight sidebar, but
All good.
I appreciate that the orcs are the most true to the original tone of 40k more than any other of the
Yeah, they have not changed.
They're
really.
the
that
same-
dark, goofy.
dark but hilarious and excessive to
Yeah.
a comical level in ways that the rest of them they're excessive still, but they're not excessive in the more absurd way that orcs are. And they're just
where the
they're
Imperium
the most
will,
40k.
Yeah,
They're
where
the
the
most
Imperium
40K.
will like blow up a pet planet with a missile. Orc will do something super orky, like rig up a bunch of mines all around they'll do something crazy and not
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
It doesn't make
It'll
any
be
sense. It's just
exactly.
funny.
Yeah.
And Gazgul's been around since the beginning.
There you go.
For all the models, like
Yeah.
if you actually
Yeah.
scroll back and you look at the original like first and second edition models, they're
funny,
first of
yeah.
all, they're old.
Yeah.
But if I just turn this around here,
and there's this little banner grot.
a little banner.
I
grot.
miss that guy.
He's actually had, I think, some of the most model changes of all named 40k characters.
Yeah, I
He's a
believe it.
staple of the universe. He shows up. Everyone has a great time when he does.
Yeah, and he doesn't take a planet.
And well, Neither did Abaddon with his 13 Crusades. We're working up to something big.
It was a plan.
It was all a plan.
It was all a plan.
But I'm very excited to learn more about Ghazghkull. So what else we got?
So he got shot in the face. And that was the end story.
Ouch.
And when he woke up from the coma, he claimed to have visions from Gork and Mork, the orc gods. And he's like, I will lead you on the greatest Waaagh you've ever known. And so the orcs on the planet, like, you truly can never get rid of orcs on the planet. So the Space Marines left, and the orcs slowly were left to repopulate the planet. Over the course of, 6 or 7 years or whatever it takes, they repopulated. All the while, Ghazghkull, or Thraka, works his way up to the top and becomes the war boss of this planet. What ended up happening is there was 2 reasons why he left his planet as well to go on like a Waaagh. Because I'm sure like some orcs are just happy to keep fighting orcs. Like sometimes that's just a fun time too. But what ended up happening was the planet Ork, its sun was about to explode due to, who knows, orkiness. Maybe they're shooting laser pointers at it that were actually like real lasers. I don't know, but I'm sure they had a hand in blowing up their sun. And also a Space Hulk floated into the sector, and they boarded the Space Hulk, which is like a very, very valuable prize, and they left the sector. So now he has like this huge Waaagh on the Space Hulk, and they're flying through the warp, and they're fighting demons, and they're having a good time, and everyone's killing everybody, and life is fun. So they're getting bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger. And eventually when the Space Hulk like exits the warp, it arrives on Armageddon's doorstep, which we also know to be Ulanor, which we know is like the orcs' sacred like homeland. So then like Thraka's more like look like the prophets are leading me, like I'm the prophet of Gork and Mork, like they led me to our homeland, like we're gonna take our homeland now. Not really like that wording, but that intent. So then begins the second war for Armageddon, and he tries to take it. Yeah, it's really bloody. And like bloody. There's a lot of information on it. We're brief over it. But what ends up happening is the war rages on for like 2 years, but then there's 20 years after where the war continues to rage on. But the orcs kind of just get pushed back after a while. Like the momentum kind of just dies out. So Thraka leaves and just goes around and raids a bunch of surrounding planets and grows his Waaagh again. Eventually he realizes he's strong enough to try to take Ulanor again, and he goes back to Armageddon. And
57 years to the day.
Happy
birthday. War.
So he then starts the third war for Armageddon, and it is even bloodier than the second war, and even bloodier than the first war.
He takes half the planet.
Yeah, but not the whole planet, because he can't even take a single planet, this guy. He's not very good. He's not a very good orc. But yeah, like eventually like it just grinds into a stalemate, and Thraka just gets bored of fighting here, and he leaves again. And he just goes out into the galaxy, and he's said to go off and start many new Waaghs. But every now and again he comes back to back to Armageddon to fight and just wreck stuff.
Yeah. And after Armageddon, he heads off to one of my favorite planets or sectors really in 40k, Octarius.
Tell me more.
Well, Octarius sector is where he's going to go off, and we're going to talk a little bit later in the episode about his encounters with the kind of the biological arms race that's going on between the Orks and the Tyranids.
Oh, really? He goes there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh,
that's a good mashup. I like those two, like tabletop and in lore. It's just a cool like fungus versus biological whatever the heck they are,
and
just like
models just die on both sides.
Exactly,
and you don't need to feel bad about it. Like you could do Cadians versus Orks, and people are dying on both sides, but you feel bad.
Those poor Cadians.
Some of the criticism though when the Tyranids first came out was that it was kind of people were afraid it was going to replace Orks because it was this horde army, which Orks traditionally have been, but Orks do have some flexibility. If you want a bunch of mechanobs or you want Gargants,
vehicles,
you can do more with it.
They're so tone-wise different though. You can safely say that they're not overlapping.
You're not going to see like a little Hormigaunt steering a ship into another ship to be like
you shall call me Planet Eater. Yeah, like it doesn't have the same cool names.
Dead Eyes, Hive Mind.
Yeah.
The Orks are just it's interesting to see that dichotomy because it's actually one that for me I don't know if I'd like to see it as much on the tabletop, but holy smokes, the fiction is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the Tyranids feel more grim dark, but the orcs
it's
are
just
more
evil.
the
Yeah.
more 40k.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, because
Yeah.
like the Tyranids are terrifying. It's like an amalgamation of Alien, basically.
Yeah.
And Alien is one of the scariest movies you can watch if you're especially a small child.
Yes.
And yeah, like if you're watching,
Everyone
it
on the
looks
show who
scary.
mentions this like was very badly damaged by seeing the first Alien at a young age or something. Or
I'm gonna have a confession. I've never seen it.
It's a good
What?
movie. It's a good movie.
Sorry,
Terrible.
I'm just.
Either way, they're
I
based
don't
on
remember
that
the
still,
first
like,
time I saw it, but maybe that's just the
It's the
PTSD.
trauma blocking. Yeah, it's blocking it out for sure.
Either way, it was they're terrifying. They're not 40k in tone compared to orcs.
Yeah.
Orcs just have that perfect combination of bloodlust and
Goofy and over the
ridiculous. Yeah.
top.
There's a little more character to like the orcs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Than
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll talk about our next war boss. This one, I'm not going to say any of these names.
the Archmaniac of Calverna.
So he rose to power by conquering a forge world, Magnos Majoris. After he won, the world fell, and he, as all orcs do, they start to loot it, and he finds the central processing unit of the entire forge world, and he's like, you know what? I want to be that, and he gets himself wired into the planet's like processing unit, and he survives.
It's literally like if he walked into IBM, saw all
Yeah.
the towers
Yeah, he like-
through the
yeah.
center. He's like, I want it.
Yeah. So just USB right into his forehead,
Yeah.
and now he is now like he no longer has a body. He has become like this processing unit.
Do you know what they call that, James?
Ghost in the Shell. Is that what they call it? They call it what's her name? That actress who plays Ghost in the Shell.
Keanu Reeves.
No,
Yes,
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. That's who he is.
Great origin story. We're gonna put that one in the back pocket. We'll return to that later. 40k is great fan fiction. It can be whatever you
There
want.
you go.
Cyborg.
Yeah. Yeah.
That again, that humor.
Yeah.
But it's a terrifying visual.
Yeah.
Like RoboCop?
Like Robo.
Yes, Jordan. Yes. And so he is all but invincible now. Like he's a planet. He's a planet. But he has been driven mad due to like just thousands of gigatons of memory.
1.21 gigawatt.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a science guy, but he's just getting like fed with all this data that eventually drives him mad. But he's still there and like leading his Waaagh from this like planet. So that is the arc.
Do you still have like psychic abilities if you're a machine thing?
You can have both.
Oh, is he? Oh, so he still has his physical form.
I don't know. I don't think
His
it's that
human-
specific.
or his
It
orc
does
brain?
not. But he definitely cannot leave the machine. So whether his body's still there, he can't leave it.
Fair enough. I'll take that answer.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So next we got. Oh, I can say this one. Big Boss Giga Gob.
Rolls off the tongue.
Oh yes. So he invaded a feudal world, Sentius Prime, looking for technology to loot, but he chose the wrong planet. He was deeply disappointed by the level of technology because it was a feudal world, and as we know about feudal weapons, there's swords, bows, or in this example, the highest level of technology, crossbows. Ooh. Yes. Yeah. So eventually, like the Space Marines interfere and they kill him, but he was deeply disappointed.
We talk. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's like when you land a whole bunch of orcs in a feudal world. It's like, well, shit. That's a lot of orcs, and then the Space Marines come down, and you're like, "What is going on here?" I don't understand any of
crossbow
this.
level technology. It's like, what the?
Yesterday we were like going to the well and picking up water, and now there are giant things running around killing each other in my backyard. I don't know how to interpret this information.
You don't. You die. You
That
die
sounds 40k.
There's almost though a restriction on their own evolutionary ability to create new technology. That like it's because they show up as
Oh,
orcs.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're not turning on the feudal world then with shootas.
Yeah.
Because the way that orc evolution kind of puts in checks and balances that they are almost as strong or greater than the force that they are fighting.
Yeah, they only need what they need.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of humans on a feudal world. They've
Yeah,
got.
I imagine they land on the planet with a bunch of shooters and high technology, and they see they're like crossbows, and they just drop their guns And then they start making swords themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're all about the challenge of the fight, too. If you just shoot down the entire population, you're not growing, you're not getting bigger and stronger. You're not enjoying the fight.
Of course.
So what this means then is they land and it becomes Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Until the
Okay.
Space Marines arrive and,
And then
wipe them
bam,
out.
then it's crazy again.
Yes, yeah. Then it's crazy again. Next one. Somebody want to read this one?
Big Lug.
That's the name of my first daughter when she comes by the way.
Yes, I'll hold you to it.
Daddy, how'd I get this name? Oh, man.
You'll see. Mark will find
Oh,
you
sweet
eventually.
Luggy.
And he will introduce you to Warhammer. When he does, do not let him in.
Do you see this man? Stay away from this man. He's already got 15 people into the hobby who've spent a grand total of $30,000 on model.
Do not be like them. Do not be like me.
I like this guy. This
Yeah.
guy is pretty fun.
Yeah.
So Big Lug was a war boss. Began as he kind of fractured off of a different one, which got devastated. But moving on,
As they all do, yes.
several rival war bosses. Big Lug gets out of there. He goes and he does the siege of Castellax.
Yeah.
Orcs overran the Iron Warriors. They're fighting around, emerging with technology. We're talking about things that orcs also lovingly call teleporters.
Yes.
So it's again, you're stealing technology and you're giving it a goofy name. Like it's not like the Hadron Collider on Earth would be called. It'd be like, you know, Atom Smasher, and it's so good.
yeah.
And so anyway, they move on to the next planet, and their ammunitions and supplies have tripled. They've got all this technology that's unlocked larger parts of their orky genetic memory for technology, and they're just going to town across the galaxy. That's about it.
That's a good time. Yeah, so next one we got Blacktooth Overfiend of Octarius. So he was the ruler of the Orc Empire Octarius, and he had the title Overfiend of Octarius. I don't know why that was written twice. That's what happens
That's the
when,
quality you can expect here.
Yeah. Hi, Miss Eric.
If you'd like to sponsor Lorehammer,
No, but the point is there that title passes on to the next leader.
So if I would have just
Yeah.
kept reading
If you
instead of
just kept
bitching,
yeah.
as I am prone to do,
Yeah.
it
He wasn't the only overfiend of Octarius.
Okay,
And
so
he won't be the last.
that's kind of cool. So they passed that on.
we're making a little foreshadowing on us there, Jordan.
Well, I'm just assuming.
It's a good assumption.
Yeah.
So he's known for fighting off a gene stealer cult that tried to infest the planet. And I chose this one to mention because I really like the thought of gene stealers infesting non-human races, like gene stealer orcs, gene stealer Eldar. Back in the day, they used to have those models, or gene stealer orcs at least. But yeah, that's why I chose him. But he ended up fighting off all the gene stealer infestation. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go attack them now. So he ended up attacking a whole Hive fleet, and I believe he won. And,
Well, he went up against Hive Fleet Leviathan,
Yeah.
which started unleashing its own. We're going to get into the Imperium and how it really set orcs against the Tyranids in Octarius. But, you might have an orc who and this is great if you want to play this as your army. You know, the fantasy of this being like he killed off the Gene Stealers. He's like, all right, I'm looking for a better fight.
Yeah.
And just runs at Hive Fleet Leviathan.
He's sick of like crushing Gene Stealer babies beneath his
Yeah,
feet.
he wants the big bugs.
Yeah.
He wants to grab a Carnifex by the jaws.
Kiss
Do yourself and look up the size of Hive Fleet Leviathan. He's going to have his hands full.
Yeah.
I don't know his final fate, but
I think he's alive and still doing what he does.
attaboy.
Yeah.
That's just such a cool combo, a cool
You love the bugs and the
lore
orcs?
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a good little setup for the lore for that conflict to keep happening.
Yeah.
They just keep bouncing off each other.
It's kind of like that, like John Carter of Mars, the Mobius, like these big aliens fighting animalistic aliens that you're just like, cue the like near the 80s metal, and it's like, oh, this, like I would want this on the side of a van. Like this guy sounds awesome.
There you go. All right, next we got Colin. You
Ed Grumpa.
Yeah, so you stole this one's name in your original.
Oh my God, yeah.
So you'll be getting letter from Games Workshop shortly, being sued. So don't worry about
They've
it.
been good without the cease and desist lately. I gotta,
That's true. Okay, maybe you'll survive.
So who's Ed Grumpa?
So he led an invasion on a Necron tomb world of Saranus. The Necron was still like in stasis, so when they attacked, they were still waking up, so they were not fully prepared. So the Necron Lord ended up making a deal with the Orks to get off the planet, and in exchange we'll give you a dozen doomsday cannons,
Get off my lawn. You just wake up, these monsters are rampaging.
wrecking everything. Just take this and leave. And like doomsday cannons are like super powerful, crazy weapons, like probably in the top powerful weapons in like the universe, really. So he gets several dozen of them, and he actually is true to his word, and he leaves the planet alone.
A Necron, a Xenos kept his word.
Yeah, and an orc nonetheless.
Oh,
Do we tell somebody?
Guys, I need a support group for this. This is incredible. Xenos working together.
But wait, so he always vowed to privately return at a later date and kill
there it is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But what happened is his Waaagh goes to the next planet, Eden Prime, and he's fighting on the planet for a couple weeks, and he's like, you know what? I wonder what the inside of that doomsday cannon looks like. So he starts ripping off armor plates, like piece by piece. Oh, what's this wire? It doesn't look important. Cuts it. The whole core of the doomsday thing breaches itself.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
That doesn't sound good. Boom! And the entire planet is erased.
Yeah, an imperial world,
an entire
agri
world is just
vaporized,
gone.
just from
gone.
existence.
Yeah. So
Maybe
there
that
goes
was the
Waaagh.
Necron plan all along.
Oh my gosh.
Holy crap.
They're playing 3-dimensional chess.
There's actually something interesting that I found about this war boss is that for any orcs that would have been following or going to meet up with him to join his Waaagh, when he was erased from existence, all of the orcs would have been thrown into complete disarray because of their Waaagh and their orkiness. They all instinctually know who to follow. When they get wiped out from existence, because this is an incredible real space weapon, all the orcs that would have been on their way there stop, and they're like, who's in charge? And I just picture these fleets all just stopping, like hard on the brakes, these rockets behind them stop, and then and then it's like, were you in charge? No. Were you in charge? And then they start fighting each other again to create a new war boss.
Yeah.
But it's again that just fun way that orcs work out. So
Yeah. And the reason I chose him is it just really shows like the curiosity of orcs. Maybe curiosity isn't like the most grim of words, but like that, like
Conniving, maybe. So, sort of like experimental.
yeah, experimental I think is a better word for it. That like need to find things out and just tinker with things and like so next we have Gazbag.
red goes faster.
Red does go faster. So he was an orc speed freak war boss, and he was noted for his tenacity and navigational skills. So
Follow that star. No, it's just like, that away.
yeah. He doesn't know. He's just like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
He's interesting.
Yeah, he is. So he led a Waaagh straight towards the unprotected Eldar Paradise worlds. So it's just like these peaceful, I don't know, Mexico Beach. Everything's nice and full of Eldar and not criminals selling
They're just
drugs.
sipping mimosas, not worrying about Slaanesh.
Yes, that aspect of it. Not worrying about Slaanesh, yes. And he didn't get a lot of loot because it's like they're not colonized worlds, really. Like they're these pristine paradise worlds. Mm-hmm. But that didn't stop him from burning them all to the ground. And he had a lot of fun doing it. Mm-hmm. But Craftworld Bealtan shows up, but was eventually fought off. Yep. When I was originally reading this, I'm like, oh, another Ork war boss dies. But he actually ended up fighting him off. And what he did is Gazbag was able to enslave the entire Eldar population on those planets.
We need to talk about orc enslavement.
It's crazy, actually. I didn't know it was as much as it was until reading this, but it's pretty cool.
Because for people who are a fan of orcs in other literature, orcs pretty much have two settings: kill or kill faster. You know?
Yes.
Very rarely do you see
or loot. Sorry, they have loot.
Killing and looting.
Yes.
Killing and looting.
Looting, killing.
But it's interesting to see that orcs, when by necessity, will take slaves. They will, and it's hard to think of how that would incorporate into their ecosystem of like having the weakest working, but. Sometimes you need more hands. And
I find the most of the time, it will just be like lugging metal or like feeding the furnace or
laughing at them while they do it,
or just being a great source of protein. So
I'll eat you later.
Yeah, exactly. He just has like a big orc warlord, ties like a human to his side as like a snack.
That's kind of like Mad Max actually with like the blood bag. You know?
It's just, exactly, just a snack for later.
All right.
Yeah. Then we have Garkor Blackfang, and He was a massive black-skinned orc described as very cunning. I find a lot of these orcs are like described as like cunning. Like
brutally cunning or cunningly brutal.
It's just like, yeah, we get it. Yeah, okay. But he actually lived during the Great Crusade, and he's pretty crazy because he was able to hold off 3 entire legions. And during Great Crusade times, we're talking like thousands and thousands of Astartes were not able to crush this guy's empire. So eventually the emperor like got word, or however he found out about it, he made his way to that planet, and him along with 1,000 custodes intervened in the only way they knew how. Deep strike right into the center of it, unleash all hell, and in a matter of seconds, over hundreds of thousands of Darkol's best warriors are just dead. Just in 3 seconds, they teleport in, just wipe out everything, just show up all the Astartes there, and it's said that only 3 custodes fell,
and their
in this
names
battle.
are held in Holy Terra in memory of this.
Yeah, on the Emperor's armor itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that. Oh,
So-
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I like the story. Now, sorry, another little rant. I just feel like bad sometimes playing custodes now on tabletop. You kill like, I just killed 10 right there. They're not that
they had
tough.
names. I
They're
see.
not that tough. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's not proportionate to the lore.
yeah, like there's a couple things that like really
Few
just
things
like,
are.
Yeah, that's to be fair. Like Space Marines should not be dying most times when you're on
No.
tabletop either.
no, it's true, but like these, yeah, I don't know. I'm just a loser, and I get upset about stupid things, and this is my only time to rant.
You just-
where
you
people
just
are
have to-
forced to listen to me.
We're stuck in a room with Mark,
the
guys.
game and the lore are like two
So
Venn
they're two
diagrams,
hands. Yes.
and
Each
they
one
overlap
has
only a little bit.
5 fingers.
Yeah, there you go. You're getting the point right there.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I gotta separate myself from Warhammer. It's not good for my psyche. That's what I should take away from this, right? Yeah. So, somebody else want to read the next one?
Sure. All right. Genghis Grimtooth, the Git Slaver. Again, another case of orc slave trade. Enslaved multiple imperial worlds, uses them to feed his war machine, and he sits on an ornate throne. One could say a Game of Thrones for him.
An Iron Throne, if you will.
It's
'Cause
made
I
of
thought it was gonna go more the what's his name? Read his first name again.
Genghis.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, like Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
is the
enslaver.
outlord,
Yeah. I thought you were gonna go that way with it, but apparently you don't know as much about history as I do.
There you go. Humiliated.
For the listener at home who is not familiar with,
I don't know nothing.
Yeah, you know nothing.
I'm just an idiot with a microphone.
Again, another great case though of them trying to give the orcs a little bit more than just like rampage and killing.
Yeah.
Trying to say, well, they'll take slaves because again, it's someone to laugh at. It's someone to punch around, kick,
Yeah.
and for the war boss to enjoy.
Yeah.
The next one, I think, is interesting because there's not a lot there. We've got Gluttok.
Oh, okay.
Very wily war boss, led a mecha Waaagh. So we're talking all the mechs, robots, or
Yeah.
mobile robotic suits, gargants, the tin cans.
Yes.
Of 40k. Eventually ran into Night House Raven, who stopped in to interfere.
Oh.
And so when you've got orcs in their giant mechs fighting Imperial Knights, which have Imperial Knights have their codex coming out in a week or so. This will date the episode, but
Great. Now we're not
Oh,
evergreen.
great. We could have just pretended like we knew what was on it, dude. There we go.
Yeah. Oh well.
you get this idea of the big fantasy nobility. You've got a knight who can pull out his, he's got his flamer sword, or you can,
Yeah.
That's not exactly what I was going for, but you get the fantasy tropes of orcs versus humans, but done with
Just
giant
in a 50-foot scale.
50-foot scale,
Yeah.
rampaging through, and you can just imagine that again. There's that poor farmer who's always on the same world, just pulling his hoe. He's doing the field in the background. It's what you see with games like Scythe, where you've got this background with these giant robots fighting, and it's like, oh, the scale.
Yeah. I like to think that farmer, though, he's used to it. He's like, oh, damn nobles, they're at it again.
It's the same guy.
Like, he looks
He
out
goes
just like,
agri world to agri world. It's all these poor run-ins with orcs.
yeah. So, what ends up happening to him?
Well, I don't know, Mark. Do you know?
Well, in his pilot or his personal stampa, he fights a bunch of knights and kills a bunch, but eventually was taken down by House Raven. And the knight who actually took him out has like a name and a story, but I don't know it. I imagine
You don't know something about knights?
I imagine his story involves him being on an agri world. He kills some orcs in mecha suits. Maybe perhaps one of the orcs' name was Gultok, for all I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So next we got my phone's not working. Ork Warlords.
Gratzdaka or Mechadaka.
Yeah, no, that's probably the longest title so far.
Yeah.
Ork Warlords Gratzdaka War Macdaka. And he's from the Blood Axe clan. So in the early 300s of M41, he led an Ork Waaagh Gratzdaka in an invasion against the Imperium on the industrial world Calidar 4. And he's noted for looting an Imperial... Hey, no solidarity over there. You reading comprehensible...
We have reading privilege. So.
Reading privilege. So he's noted for looting an Imperial Shadow Sword tank. And also he's noted for being cunning.
That's interesting.
What I love about him is he dresses like an Imperial Guard commander.
Love it.
Right? Like, yeah, I'm sure he's killed multiple and he just keeps wearing their hats. And then, this one I didn't cut his body in half, so his cloak is still good. Puts on his cloak, like on one arm because it's not big enough to fit.
Or sleeveless.
Or
It's
sleeveless,
like a trench
yeah.
coat that's
I
sleeveless.
like to picture him as like having put the helmet on, but it doesn't quite fit. So
No.
it just kind of like sits on his head.
like a little
Yeah, it just doesn't quite work.
For people who like doing alternative miniatures, though, like Cromlech, the company that makes alternate orc models, this is it. This is your guy.
Yeah.
With the trench coats, they usually have a big underbite, but they have a very comical, smug look. Like I'm in a tank. You know?
Check this out.
And they're great. They usually style these off of again, like World War I tank commanders. Much of the influence there, but again, what's more fun that you've seen the meme, I have a sword, drive me closer. The Imperial Guard. Well, you get an orc, bigger tank. I've got an axe, drive me closer. So
And so he looted a Shadow Sword tank, which is known for being like a Titan hunting tank. But I imagine he ripped that Titan hunting gun off and just replaced it with a chainsaw or
something much less effective.
Yes, but he is happy. Unfortunately, he probably should have kept that big gun because eventually Space Marines land on the planet and the Black Templars are able to kill him, ending his Waaagh.
As so many Waaghs do end.
Another one bites the dust, and another one.
Our next warlord, we've got Grizzguts, who is one of the most famous orc warlords or war bosses.
Oh yeah.
His claim to fame is he used warp travel to go back in time. We know I'll fill in for Eric here. The warp, it's an ocean. But he uses warp travel to go back in time. I don't know how you'd turn that into an ocean metaphor, but
because engines on boats have a reverse function.
I'm following you.
So if you're going forward, but then you turn your engine to reverse, you're going backwards in the currents of time.
Or maybe it's like one of those big ocean currents, like when they were trying to find Nemo, and they were swimming in the current, and then it just pulled them along right to Sydney.
But instead of finding Nemo, what he ended up finding...
He found himself, and not in the existential way. He literally walks out of time, finds himself, and he's not even phased. He's nonplussed by the experience. He just goes, and he attacks and kills his earlier self to get an extra copy of his favorite gun.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Thus creating one of those time paradoxes where he gets just evaporated out of existence. The whole wall collapses due to confusion and fighting themselves. And it became known as the Forgotten Waaagh.
Yeah, because it doesn't go anywhere and it probably just wipes itself out completely.
Which is hilarious.
It is good. See, like, that's that, like, goofy aspect that you keep mentioning.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, like, stuff like that. Over-the-top stories that, like, just seem so implausible and impossible. Because, like, most people, when you go back in time, you don't go kill yourself. You realize that would be a bad idea.
Do you picture like the Order Kronos just like sees this blip on their radar go off and it's like, oh no, there's more orcs, and then all of a sudden they just wipe themselves out and you're like, I guess put that in the chronicles. That was an interesting happenstance.
Chalk that up as a win. Okay, so here's the longest time.
The longest name I have ever seen for an orc.
Grukk Face Ripper, Grukk the Unstoppable, Grukk the Face-Eater, the Zogging Maniac.
That's great.
That's it. Why do I not have notes on this guy? I think I just must have liked his name.
Just for the name.
I
That's
think
all
that-
you need, really.
yeah.
Like, what more do you want from him?
More names. I want more names.
I imagine he rips off faces. He is
Probably eats them.
He probably eats them, and he is unstoppable.
All right, so he's actually big. 10-foot brute, muscle and rage.
Muscle and rage.
If you, I believe it was Sanctus Reach, one of the box
Okay,
sets.
yeah.
That he might have been a character in there.
Okay.
But he's a goth orc war boss.
Yeah.
And he led something called the Red Waaagh.
Oh, that was a whole campaign book. Actually.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sanctus Reach, for anyone looking for more information or looking to role play that the course of that battle, went all the way from they entered the Sanctus system, went for the planet of Alaric Prime, which is a night world, and literally in orc fashion, like pinball bouncing throughout the system to get there. There's a couple different battles. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah.
But you've got the siege leading up to this night world.
Sweet. Yeah. So if you want to check that out, does it have a source then?
Yep.
At the very bottom. Read those off.
Sure. So you can take a look at the 7th edition rule book.
Perfect.
But Sanctus Reach.
Page number?
No.
Okay. Research assistant Colyn.
I'm not
Come on.
There is a table of contents.
Thank you, Jordan.
What does that even mean?
Like,
so-
Table. What is that?
I'm just saying.
Go look them up.
There is a book called Sanctus Reach, the Red Waaagh.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty recent. I remember seeing this on the shelf here in
I'd
here in
say
Calgary,
within
so-
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so you're looking pretty much for a campaign book.
Yeah.
Guy Haley did some work with him, but that's the most that I could speak to.
I think I read that all and I realized he was more just like a standard war boss. Like there wasn't anything outstanding about him.
He
was just,
leads every charge. That's one cool thing.
Yeah,
He's not a
kinda
war
cool.
boss that sits back and watches the battle.
Yeah.
He
He likes to get his hands dirty.
He does.
Yeah.
Gritty, grimy.
Gritty, grimy,
Gritty,
full
grimy.
of blood. That's why it's called the Red Waaagh.
That zogging maniac.
I don't even know what that means, but that's fantastic.
Yeah. Next we got Grukk of Grukk's World. So there's a title for the creative people. That's about my level of creativity right there. He built a doomsday bomb, and he actually succeeded in doing it. That the Death Watch heard about it, and they invaded his world, killed him, and destroyed his bomb. But it just shows that when the orcs build a piece of technology, that it is dangerous. They
big.
can be amongst the most dangerous weapons in the galaxy. You look at Tau or Eldar and Necron, who are known for high levels of technology, but orcs are just as dangerous with their technology if made by Grukk of Grukk's World.
Typically, the weakest races in 40k are not the ones that lack ambition, like the Jokero, right? They can create digital weapons, like these incredible things. But it's also a lack of destructive imagination.
Yeah.
That the orcs have.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
That they can. Do they need it? Maybe not. But
Do they need to blow up? Does Grukk need to blow up Grukk's World? Is that
No,
the best move for Grukk?
they're not going to create the Necron Dermis, the living metal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if they wanted to do the same destruction of a Satan on a sun, they very well could.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all because, unlike other races where they may be, like the Imperium, which is held back by saying we need to cling to the old ways, orcs, if they come up with an idea and they have that not so much the ambition, but the imagination to come up with something ridiculous, they can.
Yeah.
That is deadly.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool.
Who do we got? Grukk's World. It's like a theme park.
Next
Roller coasters that shoot off into nowhere.
just rockets.
Just rockets.
You strap yourself to them and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's a merry-go-round, but replaced just with all these rockets that will randomly fire off. The Gretchen are just like, okay, I'll make it.
If you want. So now we have Grukk Teeth Splinter. And he's from the Snakebite clan. I like and that's what I say to make up time while I read stuff. And Snakebite clan.
Thought we were gonna do the word association game again here, James.
I'm being told I'm not good at this by Jordan.
You're not speaking into your mic.
This makes for great radio, guys.
I have never said that Warhammer was good at radio.
So, Grukk Teeth Splinter, Snakebite Clan,
Yep.
enslaved entire populations, and he created a mega menagerie. On board his Space Hulk, he conquered shrine worlds, which are these gigantic, like planet-wide monasteries, to use as pens for his squigoffs. And
Nice.
he's, in my mind, he's actually kind of like, what was that movie, the Mystical Magical Emporium? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
It's literally he's just putting together a crazy zoo,
Yeah.
which we've seen in other fiction of like aliens, like even is it Trazen from the Necrons who
Yeah.
collects people from across time and space?
Yeah.
This is kind of the orc version of it, but he's throwing like that this is it's a cathedral. You know,
Yeah.
the Sisters of
Beautiful
Silence
stained
would have
glass
stained
window.
glass, kept it in immaculate condition, and then he's literally throwing in these little monsters that are just crapping everywhere, and you're like, oh, it was so nice back in the day.
Did we ever go over Squigoth in our Xenos episodes?
We probably mentioned them. So a squigoth is basically
I'm
like,
looking it up right now.
It's
Yeah.
It's like a rhino almost.
Yeah,
I
like-
the picture that they're putting like the most mundane things in their zoo. They're like not like something beautiful and majestic.
No,
Like,
no.
some ugly rat looking thing, just dirty. It's got
Yeah, yeah.
patches of hair. It's not.
It's actually just a
pretty.
rattling from an Imperial world.
Exactly.
He's like, oh, I'm here forever now.
It's just gross. That's what I think
But
he's
they like it.
collecting.
They like
That's
it.
what he's collecting.
But yeah, so as we know about the orc species, the orc species is actually made up of multiple different types of orcs. Like there's Gretchen, which are like small little green things. There's like Grotts. They also have squigs. They have like the hair, their top knot hair is actually a type of orc. It's a type of orc fungus. So squigoth are just a type of orc, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because they can grow to different things, and yeah, not that they can transform. Like an orc boy will never become a Gretchen, but yeah. Killjaw, mighty mangler of Bork, was originally
Clawjaw.
Oh, Clawjaw.
Killjaw also, that's
Yeah.
his cousin.
Yeah, Clawjaw.
Clawjaw was originally known as Cog, but he ate a mutated squig and passed out. He awoke as a different orc, Clawjaw.
I think some of us have actually had a really bad dinner, woke up a completely different person.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've all had a clawjaw moment.
So he stumbles into the forest, finds this mutated squig, eats it, wakes up days later, goes back into his tribe, and his best friend's like, "Oh, hey, Cog, like, how's it going, buddy? Where you been?" And Clawjaw bites his arm off and rips his head off and kills him. And he's like, "I'm not Cog, I'm
Cog,
Clawjaw." So he literally became a different orc.
What's that movie where the woman wakes up one morning, can't remember who her husband
30
is?
days and 30 nights.
It's like that.
with like Adam Sandler in it or
Drew
something?
Barrymore.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore.
No, that's you're thinking of 51st Dates.
Oh, 51st Dates.
Not
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. There's a different one. It's like based on a true story.
Titanic.
This wife,
She has a memory.
she has
disorder.
amnesia.
Yeah.
It's like that. Only he rips her apart, his buddy apart instead of.
This is a
falling in
very
love.
different film, and I want Games Workshop. If you're listening, this is
Tune
the
in to
perfect
film
romantic
idea.
comedy to bring the 40K universe into.
So he united.
51st Waaghs. Every day a brand new Waaagh.
I'd watch that.
Cog is interesting because he also went to town after he like came to. He's got his new memory. He
He's
goes
also like bigger.
yeah
Like just somehow he became a different orc.
he's a specimen. He goes, and most of the content on him is actually way back in the 4th Codex. And he goes to war. And if you want to play this on the tabletop, if you want to do like a campaign about this, it's pretty good because if you're a Space Marine player, he beat up the Ultramarines, he beat up the Dark Angels, he beat up the Howling Griffins,
Perfect.
he beat up the Blood Angels.
Wow, he's going to town.
He crushed
Clawjaw.
He crushed all of them on his way to the capital of the planet, and from there he won control, and he was a very happy orc.
Yeah, and then he founded the Empire of Bork.
The mighty mangler of Bork,
Yes.
as he is also known.
Yeah.
That's like super unintimidating. Your empire is Bork.
Until you see this orc that bites off people's arms.
Yeah, like it's just a visual, or it's a
Yeah.
visually scary, but
Not
The ear is not
verbally.
that bad. Bork? Okay, I can deal with Bork.
I can deal with Bork.
It sounds like a sound effect, like as we're getting up, from completing, oh, that was a great dinner, I bump my knee. Oh, Bork,
Bork.
like that's the sound effect it makes.
Fucking Bork.
And that's when you ate the squig. You wake up the next day and you're a completely different person.
You biting off
It's
your
all
front arm.
connected.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
Who we got next?
Next we have Morkog, and
Morkorg.
Morkorg.
Yeah.
Morkorg.
Is it
Morkorg.
O-R-G?
Yeah, sure.
Morkorg.
Words. None of these words are real. I don't.
There's not a lot for him, but he's kind of cool. He encountered a Tau colony ship, just rampaged through, renamed it Tau Killer.
Because that's why I chose this guy.
Yeah, of course, right? For the listener who's listening to this right now, I'm looking across the table, and Mark just has this great big smile, and it's great because, as we'll talk about later in the episode, the Ork and the Tau do have a really good history of fighting each other, and in the lore and like the battles that they go up against each other.
Yeah.
And the Orks are pretty good for capturing stuff and just changing the name back to the thing that beat them. So it's like, it's my new Tau killer. And you can just imagine the Ethereals being like, we are being destroyed by this incredible beast.
Oh,
and the
no.
name it gave it is just, oh my. Like,
Why would they do that?
yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good visual for me.
No, but
Yeah, so he ended up like just being a thorn in the Tau Empire's side for like decades. So that's really him. I just that's my kind of wordplay, You're killing Tau, you call your ship Tau Kill. It's the type of wordplay I can get behind. Yeah. Okay. Morkul Grimscar. He fought in the Third War for Armageddon. And what's wild about him, Eric, I hope you listen to this, because sit down. I know this is going to be a great blow to not only your pride, but also your psyche. He,
keep going.
Mork Grimscar, killed a Black Templar, but not just any Black Templar. He killed the Emperor's champion in single combat. He was wounded quite a bit from it. So you know what he decided to do, Eric? You know what he decided to do with your precious Black Templar? He looted the Emperor's champion armor and weapon, and he turned himself into the classic cyborg. He wired himself into this suit, and now we got a Black Templar Emperor's champion orc running around doing all types. He's pooping in that armor, Eric. He's pooping in it.
If you've done a conversion of Morkul Grimscar, please leave it on the Lorehammer Facebook page.
I want to see a miniature of this.
That would be.
It's easy to do. You just grab it'll be your excuse to grab a Primaris Marine, and just paint it black, throw it on an orc, and it's great. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Next one. I will take the pronunciation, Mark. Do not worry.
Thank you. I appreciate. You're a good friend.
Nazdrag Oog Erdgrub, war boss of the Bad Moons clan.
Those aren't words. I know you think you're reading, but those aren't words.
Hold on. I'll try it again backwards.
It will sound just as good.
Bergdru Gredzan.
It's the exact.
Oh my god. Either way works, really.
It's the same.
He's so Bad Moon Clan, concerned with amassing wealth. He can speak Low Gothic, and he uses punishment and rewards as incentives, like any other orc should.
Machiavellian man.
He's actually very intelligent, very cunning, brutally cunning, cunningly brutal.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm seeing a pattern somewhere.
If you have to rise to the top, you gotta be cunning or brutal
Or cunning and brutal.
or clawjaw. That's the only ways to rise to the top. Yeah, that's really all. It just it shows that orcs can actually do more than just violence. Like they actually can enslave stuff, or like they say, like he rewards and punishes like orcs who disobey him. The big thing in that is more rewards as opposed to punish. But yeah. Next we have Skargrim Ragnar, and he was a speed freak war boss that favors motorbikes and fire. Just a cool visual. Just running around. Like, I want to try this in real life. Does anyone have a flamethrower? If you got a flamethrower, message me on Lorehammer. We'll get up to my motorbike and we'll have a good time.
Just make sure you don't shoot it in front of you.
Oh,
The flames
You
flicking
don't?
back.
You have to shoot
Maybe
it
I'm-
sideways or backwards. That is the only way this works.
okay. Maybe I'm not qualified then for this setup. Okay.
I don't think the orcs are qualified for that setup.
Yeah, but that's fine. They'll burn themselves and it's funny.
Yeah, they'll make it work.
I just see them like amassing on a battlefield. They're getting ready. They start driving, shooting the flamethrower in front of them, catch on
Yeah.
fire. They're all dead.
As we move from this guy to the next one, well, the next two really, we're going to see a pretty large jump between orc humor and orc grimdark.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if there's been any sort of correlation between the writers when the codexes are coming out or the campaign books are coming out, because the nice thing is orcs are flexible. You can paint them both ways.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into some really good examples of how you can take it in either way. So, do you want to start the next one, Mark?
Yeah, so this guy's name is Snagrod, the Ork Anarchist. And he is one of the most powerful orcs in the entire galaxy.
Sorry, arsonist.
Anarchist,
He likes
yes.
fire.
Arsonist.
Not an anarchist.
No.
A different
I'm
thing.
sure they would like both.
They are kind of anarchists.
Well,
but
yeah, you like the arson leads. into the
Arsonist, so is
anarchy.
his correct. Yes, he likes fire and flame. And he's the leader of the Empire of Sheridan. Is that good?
Paradon. I know,
Oh,
we're
there
going
we
both
go.
ways now. I changed my...
I like Sheridan. I'm going to go with that because it sounds lovely to go there.
One of the things why he is one of my favorite orcs is that he orcs, we think that they show up to a planet and you can just imagine like what their vox speakers are doing to like all the imperial ships that are listening out into real space, and you just could hear this like drumming, this like chanting, they're like screaming,
Very like rowdy, like rile you up music.
yeah, like again, what were their origins? It's, you know, you're getting hyped for a football game, you know. This guy puts out incessant ranting Vox broadcasts. He's the equivalent of one of not
Let's go
one
with
of,
Alex Jones.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was
say.
thinking that that was
Yes.
in my brain right there. I'm thinking Alex Jones is an orc. He is the gay frog.
His forces wiped out 28 of the 80, or no, there was only 28 of the 84 Space Marines left to return to Rin's world when he encountered them during his Waaagh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because the Crimson Fist tried to assassinate
Crimson's
him.
Fist, yep. And just went up against him, didn't have much luck. Now, to his advantage, Space Marines had some trouble with their tech, with a surface to planet or surface to space defense system. Again, this is the Crimson Fist, which there were a problem with their own technology, drew out this conflict, and he was able to just keep rampaging through the Loki sector.
Yeah. So I've heard many good things about the Rin's World book.
Yes,
So if
Steve
anyone's
Parker.
Yeah, like I haven't heard somebody who's like, I didn't like it. Everyone loves this book. So if you want a good Space Marine book, read Rin's World. Yeah, it's his story. So next we've got Toothjaw. And he rose to power by convincing a pain boy to take a little off the top of the war boss that he was under. And so, you know, the war boss goes under surgery and he's like, I want a new shiny gob or a new shiny git. And he goes under, and then the pain boy just takes an inch off his head. And what he does with this inch, he puts it then on Toothjaw. So Toothjaw is growing bigger, and the other war boss is growing smaller. Like literally by stitching one war boss's skin onto the other one. By the time the war boss Drogbag noticed it was too late, and Toothjaw was now bigger than Drogbag and challenged him to a fight, which Toothjaw won and took complete control of the tribe. To become a part of the war boss Toothjaw's tribe, an orc must undergo small modifications.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, which is really just the pain boy just knocking teeth out of the orc's face and allowing Toothjaw to become super wealthy. So it's like, yeah, we'll give you some upgrades, and then, you know, they put him under, they fucking knock him out.
They're looting him.
Yeah, they're looting them. And then, like, they just put a strap of metal, like, around their wrist or something. It's like, check out this modification. You right, our boy, now. Like,
Very, yeah.
yeah. It's
Got
just
him.
like, got him.
So that's kind of that comedy, right?
yeah,
That-
exactly. Like,
the next one though is my favorite of the examples of grimdark for what the orcs can do when they encounter the warp.
yeah. One with quick thing about Toothjaw. He converted an entire asteroid field into a space fleet. So he just had that
Has a
much
bunch
money.
of rocks.
Yeah.
So he's flying around space in rocks.
Yes.
Is what you're telling me.
Yes,
That's
Rockets on the rocks.
put some rockets on a rock, fly it around.
Smash into other
Effective
rocks. Yes.
fleet
Effective.
on a discount too. Like, are you? In
Do
the
you
market
need a
for
budget fleet?
Come to Asteroids R Us, and we'll fit some rockets on bunch of asteroids for you.
For 10,000 teeth, you too can be the proud
Can you imagine
owner
the
of this.
rogue trader who's just like standing there collecting teeth, being like, yeah, sure, okay. Here's some rocks. I'll give them to you. It's nothing for him. Rocks for
Some
teeth.
rocks. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, take it away.
Tuska the Demon Killer. So he was a war boss. He had a lot of weird boys who, I know you guys have mentioned weird boys on one of the first episodes about
was a
Ork
while
and Face-
ago.
Yeah, go back, listen to that episode. They bypassed Cadia, the Cadian Gate, and he led his Waaagh into the Eye of Terror, the central nexus for the warp. Going through, he defeated several demon hordes. Not entirely sure how like their integrity would stay collected when you enter the warp without any sort of Geller field, but we know
Yeah.
that orcs, just the power of sheer imagination and will, can force reality around them.
Exactly.
So they crash land on I would presume as a demon world. They fought off demons of Khorne, and they were very much whittled down. For me, they could have either called him like Tuska the Demon Killer or like Ragnarok and roll, like it's literally this rampage of demons coming at them. They keep fighting. He's wounded by a demon prince, but right before the finishing blow was dealt, the weird boys and Tuska, they unleash their psychic powers to distract the blood prince. Tuska impales the prince before succumbing to his own wounds. Pretty incredible like rampage into the depths of hell.
yeah, that right there makes him awesome.
Oh, it's metal.
Yeah,
It is
like,
metal.
Just literally fighting demons in the depths of hell.
Yeah. Because it's not like they're going to rescue anything.
No.
Like most of like
Just
human,
for the sheer enjoyment of it.
yeah, like, Dante would like be going through. I'm like learning, and I'm going to find my Beatrice. Like no, orcs are like I'm here to punch demons and have fun. It's like okay. So Khorne looks at this. He's like, golf clap, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, well done. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to resurrect you because your spirits, your souls are in my domain. You belong to me. I'm going to bring you back to fight my demons for eternity. And every day, these demons and you, we're going to fight, and I'm going to watch this. Some days you'll win, some days you'll lose. No matter what, you're going to have a good time.
Yep.
This is actually Khorne kind of doing them a kindness.
This is Khorne's one and only nice deed. Eternal war.
Yeah.
Well, the orcs that's basically Ork Valhalla right there.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
get to go and fight for eternity. That sounds like a win.
For the orc who has everything, this is, the perfect gift this holiday season. I do think this is also very interesting because I imagine that a lot of the demons, because we know that their consciousness are split off of Khorne, Khorne can actually maybe kind of feel this battle. He can participate with the orcs. It's fulfilling for him,
Yeah.
not just the identity of the individual demons that are fighting.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about how much you remember with things in the warp. Like, do the orcs remember every day that they're
Yeah.
coming into this brand new?
Yeah.
I didn't really see it touched on. I can imagine the demons do, and that's why it's a game to them.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter if you have the memory or not. You're still going toe to toe with these demons every day, and
Yeah.
you're just having a great time.
Yeah. It's possible too, even that he just like it's not even. It's more like a replay, even.
Yeah.
Like
The greatest hits.
Yeah.
Literal
yeah.
hits.
Yeah. Like it could even be that where it's like not actually them fighting like new battles every day, but it probably is that because that's way cooler. But so you were saying that their souls were trapped in the warp in like Khorne's domain, so Khorne has control of them. So I wonder if Khorne would be able to like summon them into real space as like chaos orcs.
It would. I think that some of the rules might apply to the same way people banty about the idea of daemons of Slaanesh being Eldar, like converting those souls into demons.
Yeah.
I think that you actually could make an argument that
Yeah.
an orc could be converted into a demon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, Scarbrand is just an orc.
No. But like there'd be this weird new type of like demon.
If we're
'Cause,
talking about model ranges and we talk about conversion potential and you want
yeah.
to do something like that,
That's what I'm thinking.
the fabric of 40K is done in such a way that we get answers like these, or we get the template.
Yeah.
But we don't get definitive answers.
Yeah.
Which make it very good for fan fiction.
Yeah.
But it also makes it good for arguments about people being, no, orcs are orcs, they're genetics, they're psychic, they're unique, they
Yeah.
can't be transformed.
But
The rule of cool is if you want to paint a bunch of orcs red and
Yeah.
you have them come out of a warp storm and they're
would-
raising an
I
imperial
would
world.
love that. That'd be cool. That'd
Yeah.
be a great backstory. And just one other thing to kind of show that it could be possible. Chaos Furies, which are like a type of demon that are
Not
like
furries.
no Furies.
Uh-huh.
that are associated with Undivided, they're said to be like lost souls that never like pledged themselves to a god, and now they're like these like twisted demons that can be summoned into real space.
That's interesting.
So yeah, so I like to take that the demon killer one step further, and even like to think that maybe like he does go out back into real space as like a demon. Not really a demon, but like a warp entity.
So he would have a longer name now. It'd be Teska the Demon Killer, aka the Demon.
Yeah. Like maybe like at the end of each battle, like Corn will nominate like a couple champions and then send them out. Maybe it's not always like the Demon Killer, but yeah. Like you proved yourself to go back into real space and kill like real things.
It's some good headcanon to think about.
Exactly. Copyright. So
What's this letter that's sliding into the door? It's oh my gosh, it's from Nottingham.
burn it. It's not for me. So next we got
Zagdaka.
and he's a weird boy and a war boss, which is pretty unique. And he's the leader of the Weird Waaagh.
Weird Waaagh.
Weird Waaagh. His ability allows him to control a large number of orcs, making them like even more focused and disciplined. But like this really makes him unique, where like it sounds like he's actually like physically controlling them through like his psychic might, and it's not so much like go over there. It's like he's literally like
moving them.
Yeah, forcing them to go over there.
Theoretically, they'd be like faster to react to things and more.
We're getting into like
effective
hive mind sort of territory.
Yeah, like I get
or
like that,
or some sort of innate control, but
yeah.
It's almost a little bit more tyranny, but with the little comic.
Yes,
Because they're weird boys.
weird and of the Weird Waaagh.
do you just picture the Weird Waaagh, like the soundtrack for their existence, being like one of those like really old ice cream trucks? You know, like and but then it's just like this massacre of orcs.
Or Beastie Boys. That's an alternative.
Okay. But just to show the power of this guy, it's crazy. He kills 2 Reaver Titans with a psychic blast.
What?
Right? That's wild. Like, that's crazy how powerful this guy was. He also destroyed a section of wall that was 500 feet tall. Who knows how thick? I'd imagine thick.
I'm less impressed by the wall because it
Sure.
doesn't have void shields, I'm guessing.
Yeah. But still, like, a Reaver Titan's like, I don't know, 100 feet,
Yeah.
roughly, you would say? And 5 times the height of that. I don't know, size is everything.
And, I don't know,
deeper the better.
weaponized?
I have a big, what?
What? Anytime you have any race taking down, whether it's a bio titan, I'm now looking because I'm like, hey, Tyranids, more examples. But
Yeah.
anytime it's almost like this benchmark of strength. You take down
Yeah.
a titan, you're a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, his Waaagh was ended, and he was killed by a Land Raider demon, and Redeemer, and he was burned to death. So that was the end of him. No more orcs running around leading the Weird Waaagh, blowing up titans, which praise the Omnisci, I guess, right? Is that what we say in this situation?
Yeah, it would have been an incredible loss for the Forge world to lose such a holy relic such as those Reaver Titans.
Yeah.
I'm sure that many incantations and candles were lit that evening in memory, and the Binaric chant continues to this day.
It's very solemn in here now.
I feel like the weight. There's a weight.
There is a weight.
now.
There's a loss. I feel it now.
The soul is the conscience of sentience.
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. Those are words. I'll let you read this guy's name if you want.
Sure. Jadsnark da Rippa.
You're really good at that. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm part orc.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. My mother's side. My mother's side.
So he was a war boss of the Evil Sons, and he was a simple orc. He distrusts pain boys. He distrusts weird boys. He really just distrusts anything that is not a choppa or a shooter.
That's probably because he's very cunning.
No, he's very brutal.
Quite, yes. And he lives by the old school tactics,
Yeah.
which is just, shooter and clubber and stomper
Yeah.
and hitter and stabber and pointer.
He was in Imperial Armor Volume 8.
So this guy would have rules then.
I think he does.
Cool.
He had a motorcycle called, as a throwback to earlier in the episode, the Beast.
Yeah. And now this makes me wonder. He has a weapon called the Face or the Ripper. And I wonder, did he name the weapon or did the weapon name him?
I like to imagine that he could have had the weapon speaking to him on a, like
Right?
a primal level.
Like, this is
but-
not a joke. This is who named who.
But
Chicken and egg here.
Yeah.
if you look up art for him, his hand has been replaced with this giant, like gnarly chainsaw.
That's cool.
So
So
That would be easily convertible too if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Make
Yeah.
that. Just chop off his hand, put in a chainsaw.
grab some bits from the knight armatures, throw that
Ooh,
on.
Yes. Perfect. And so the last guy we will be talking about is Zogget. And he's a weird boy and a war boss.
It's that feeling when you forgot the oven on.
Oh, Zogget! Now I gotta go home and I'm gonna be late for work.
Oh, boy.
I'm a Zoggen loser.
He's fun.
Yeah. He would kill anyone who would suggest that he was a weird boy. So he was a closet weird boy. any
Mark's
closet weird
eyes
boys.
just lit up.
You see what I did there? I made a gay joke.
Oh boy.
Hey, if you're gay, that's cool with me. Just come out of the closet. Don't kill people for it. If you get accused of being gay, don't murder.
Don't be a Zogget.
Don't be a Zogget.
Jordan and I are recoiling into the corner of the room from this conversation. Tell us more about Zogget.
I'm
would you,
glad I
Mark?
have no inspirations further than my current station in life. Otherwise, I would be ruined. He led an assault on the Dark Eldar city of Cormorgaw, and he leveled many city blocks. He was eventually killed, and the remaining orcs were captured and placed into the arena for basically combat for hundreds of years.
Captured by the witches of Kamara, and
And they captured like 10,000 of them or
it's a
something.
lot.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons for that is that orcs can have more pain inflicted on them than
Yeah.
many of the other lesser or older, any race really.
yeah, like you can cut off their arm and they're going to be fine the next day.
Yeah, they'll be screaming in pain. You stitch it back on, it's going to naturally reattach
Yeah.
itself. So there's not a lot of medical work or resources required to keep
Yeah.
your slaves alive.
Yeah,
to
and
just
you-
keep torturing them.
And you don't even, like, if they're in the arena, you don't even have to, like, goad them out there. They're like, when do I fight next? Like, they want to do this. So they're, like, great for the arena.
He doesn't really have a great resume, though.
No.
After we've read all these
No.
other ones, and he destroyed many city blocks.
Yeah.
Great. Like, Saddam Hussein has that on his resume. That's not very good.
But he's not a closet weird boy.
That's true.
Or was he?
Maybe, I don't know.
It's coming out. It's coming out today. Revelations from Lorehammer.
That's a lot of orc war bosses. And
Yeah. And there's more, too.
And many people have come up with their own.
Yeah.
Again, we'd encourage them to share their stories
Yeah.
with the podcast. It's great because there's a lot of flexibility. I'll tell you a real quick story,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just me, though.
Yeah, no, David
James?
too. You may
Oh,
leave the
Jordan?
room.
I'm plugging my ears.
No.
I can't hear.
My first introduction to 40K was actually orcs.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of like very much a mechanicus
Half
guy.
orc?
But I am a half orc.
I
Yeah.
thought we were going that way.
But what happened was here in the city, my first introduction was walking into a local game shop, and on the table it was Ultramarines versus Orcs.
Okay.
And I didn't know the rules. I didn't know how to play. This was back when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Forever ago. And I go up to the table.
20 years ago.
Yeah, right. Do not date me, my age at least. So I walk in, and one of my friends, who is like, no, you should check it out. She introduces me to the orcs, and I watch her just clock this ultramarine on the table. And I was like, this is incredible. And I'm like, you're
There's
incredible.
a woman playing Warhammer. This is incredible.
Where did you find that?
That is an anomaly if I've ever seen one.
It's not to go into
Previous
the
lovers?
well, no. The episode that you had talked a lot about gender and representation is that orcs are kind of this exposed id. It's just the natural, like our subterranean desires rampaging across the field.
Yeah.
But they're super fun.
Yeah.
They enjoy themselves. And my introduction to orcs was this, and it was a great way into the hobby because it's like literally I'm throwing dice, win or lose, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
The orcs are having a great time. The players are having a great time.
Yeah.
I've never met an ultramarine player more sour to lose than this guy though.
Oh, yeah?
He was terrible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most
Salty.
people playing
Very much.
those Ultramarines are sour little blueberries.
I read this interesting thing on Reddit the other day about how Space Marines, like, they're hyped up to be like the biggest and the best, and like in universe even they're hyped up to be that. But Calgar has like a confession. I forget exactly who he's telling, but there's a tale of Calgar holding. He's like the chapter master of the Ultramarines. For those who don't know, there's a story of him like holding a city fortress gate for a night and a day against an Ork Waaagh, and like. Everyone looks at that and they think like the first image is like, he's fighting off hundreds of orcs for hours and hours. But what ends up actually happening, Calgar confesses, is that one of the Imperial citizens has like a spaceship and crash lands like a huge massive spaceship into the Ork Waaagh and eliminates it that way. But then like there's all this propaganda around the Space Marines where they hype it up for their Imperial citizens because like it's good for morale. So all you Ultramarine players that think you're the best, you're living a lie. You're like James.
Hot
you're
take.
You're a lie.
Yes, everything in my life is a lie.
Yeah, just like that.
Well, we're starting to get into how different races view the Orks. And
Yeah.
how they respond to the Orks.
Yeah.
I
They
guess
don't like him. Like, I got one quick thing. Just on the topic of like, because we're talking about all these like all these war bosses. To me, Orks are one of the best ways to make a character and like actually give them flavor. Like, if you're making a Space Marine captain, you can't really give them flavor. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I
you
would disagree
can.
because it depends on where you're looking. Because one of the problems for Space Marines as a concept is that they're the best of us and they have no flaws.
Yeah.
But you can still, like, if you start to introduce personality flaws, like, they're only as good as their Primarch.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, all these Primarchs were as human could be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of it goes to that, once again, that Imperial propaganda where it's like they're held to a level where in the universe everyone thinks they're flawless, but when you really examine them, like, they're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but Orks...
But Orks, like, you can have that. You can make that guy who likes to wear Imperial Commissar clothing running around giving orders. And, like...
And their flaws are very noticeable.
But-
It's not like they're these hidden, like, no Orc is going to be like, I really don't think I'll be able to take this next planet.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, so you can really go crazy with like Ork characters, and they're one of the few armies in my mind where you can really give like your warlord, your leader of your army, like character, as opposed to just like giving your army itself character.
Well, I think part of it is that the way the lore is written, a lot of different species have almost an innate character given to them.
Exactly, as a species.
Just all of them, like
Yeah.
Tau, Eldar, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They have like the groups all have this is their personality, and it's kind of all of them have that generic thing
Yeah.
about them.
And yeah,
Whereas
there are
orcs
differences, but
are
you're
very
right.
broad
Yeah.
in what they could be. Like you can have orcs can be anything pretty much. Like you have
Yeah.
that Machiavellian guy who's
Yeah.
like, I'll give to this
Exactly.
guy if he does what I want, and then
Yeah.
you
I
can
picture
have
him literally having a glove with strings on them, but it's each a
Exactly.
human Imperial Guard head.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Exactly.
But if you had a Space Marine captain doing that, I'd be like, well, that kind of, to me, it breaks a little bit of
well,
the-
if he was
the
doing
lore.
exactly that, he would have fallen to chaos a while ago,
true,
Mark.
True. Chaos could get away with it, but like, yeah, like there's a lot of races that can't get away with it, like Tyranids, obviously, like lots of Space Marines, Imperial Guard, like. I feel like if you're too crazy, you're just gonna get executed. Where Orks, you can get away with it. That's really all. I just really like, yeah, send in like your cool Ork Warlord characters. Like, I'd love to read more about them.
Credit goes to whoever comes up with the longest name that isn't just, gobbledygook. Like, actually give him a full name.
Yeah.
If you include Breaker of Chains and Princess of the Great Grass Sea or whatever the hell that long name is, you will be disqualified.
That was nowhere near to what it was, but yeah, sure.
yeah.
Even better if it's read one way and backwards the exact same. What's
Oh
that
my
called?
God.
What is,
palindrome.
yeah, if
If
it's
you
a
can have a
palindrome,
palindrome Orc name,
then you win. You win a dice bag. I will give you guys a dice bag. There's a new Lore Hammer contest. We can
Longest
send you.
palindrome orc name.
Yeah,
There it
exactly.
is.
We'll put a date on it. I'll put it up on Facebook. We're gonna do that. So you can win a dice bag. A $4 dice bag plus shipping, so now we're up to $6. That's how much I value you guys. Coming out of your Patreon money. Okay.
well played.
Okay. So yeah, let's talk about orcs.
Fair deal.
Let's talk about orcs and how they relate to other races and how other races see them.
Right. So we've talked about the war bosses and their role, but what's interesting is also to look at the gaze, G-A-Z-E, Mark.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know he's got gays on the brain.
Look at the way that they reflect back how the other races see the orcs.
Yeah.
So what we want to talk about was a little bit about how some of the races have unique relationships to the orcs.
Yeah.
And we're just looking at the highlights. We're not going to be able to cover everyone in the interest of time.
Yeah.
But here are some examples. So we're going to talk about the Tyranids, Chaos, Space Marines specifically. We're going to talk about Necrons, Imperial Guard, Mechanicus, Tau, and Eldar with a small note of Dark Eldar. So the first one, you love them. You got to have them. The Tyranids.
Bags. Bags.
because they're one of those classic rivalries, like Oilers and Flames. Like,
Oh, don't bring soccer into this.
Fake Canadians sitting across the table. Both Tyranids and Orks are traditionally horde-based armies. They are melee monstrosities. They also fight at a very, from an orkoid spore to a Tyranid
Spore?
cell. Spore.
They
Spore?
also use spores.
Spore?
Yeah, spores on spores.
Tyranid cells, even smaller than spores. 999 M41 began my favorite conflict for them, the Octarius War. Hive Fleet Leviathan was coming for the Imperium, and a guy named Inquisitor Kryptman, he was desperate. He looked to the Ork Empire of Octarius and thought, well, I'm going to have two foes fight each other, and he pulled that great line from Godzilla, "Let them fight." Long story, the Death Watch captured a gene stealer. They threw it on a ship with Orks. The Orks got infested. Orks returned home. The Orks there were like, something ain't right. Started fighting. The Hive Mind felt this conflict spill out, and then Hive Fleet Leviathan...
Oi, why that boy have 3 arms?
It wasn't even the purple that set him off. Because wait, have you ever seen a purple orc?
No, yeah,
Ork is stealthy.
I have not seen one.
So what's very interesting about this, though, is that the Tyranids, having experienced different confrontations with the Imperium, had gotten really good at feigning attacks, at being able to make a small, in-system maneuver. Their attack, they'd pull back.
Yeah, the Imperium would transfer all its resources into one spot.
Yeah. Orks are not good at giving up the fight. Orks chase them back into, when the Tyranids would retreat, Orks are like, well, they're retreating, let's follow them. They follow in and they just get slaughtered. And this happens numerous times, over and over and over. And we talk about how the Tyranid hive mind is rapidly adapting, evolving to think better, new strategies. It must have looked at the Orks and been like, this is way too easy.
How are these the most populous Xenos in this galaxy? How?
Just gotta eat them.
So just gotta eat them.
So this is just feeding biomass into Leviathan. And the other side of it, though, is that it gives Orcs something that they hadn't had since the time of the Beast with the Imperium. A common objective. And seeing how many Orcs are just getting destroyed by Leviathan, Orcs around the entire galaxy, not just in the sector, hear about this through myth, through legend, and are like, we're going for the good fight.
Yeah.
And now you've got huge hordes, billions of Orcs all running to meet the Tyranid force, and you've got Inquisitor Kryptman going, oh yeah, like, what have I done?
They're gonna call me a heretic for this, aren't they?
Yeah.
that sounds still pretty good from a third party. And like, they're just gonna kill each other. That sounds pretty good to me.
You would hope so.
And then the winner's going to be severely depleted with resources.
Or one is going to eat the other and then get really big.
And this is where reading about this, you think, okay, this is kind of bad for the Orcs. The Tyranids are outmaneuvering them, but then Orcs start to swell in.
Yeah.
And Orcs are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we are getting to the level where Orcs are starting to get to that cusp of prime Orc. We're talking Orcs who are could get to be as intelligent as the Beast.
Yeah.
We know how powerful the Beast was when when the 6 Orcs led the wall against the Imperium. I would actually argue that while the Tyranids may be winning this short battle, if we get all of the Orcs into this one system, that next unlocking for their consciousness could push them up into a racial-wide level up to Prime Orc.
Yeah.
And then you've got a huge advantage for treating every Orc like a Primarch up against Tyranid hordes.
Yeah.
That is going to shift the battle. And that's what Kryptman is now kind of like. First of all, you have to go back and tell the rest of the Inquisitors, like, hey, so I came up with this marvelous plan.
No. I mean, my acolyte did it. He's dead now. I killed him for heresy.
Yeah. Which is also where Gazgul comes in. Bored by Armageddon 3, Electric Boogaloo, he's popped into Octarius because he's bored by the stalemate, and he starts smashing Tyranids, which is helping him grow bigger.
Yeah.
So you could, again, some people are like, well, I like this as a historical fiction, but if you're really enjoying telling new stories in 40K, get yourself some big Orcs, because this is where they're showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. Again, I love that. I love those two fighting each other. They're just the perfect balance of the two
Yeah. Yeah.
punching each other in the face. It's
Until
good.
one of them wins. Yeah.
Chaos.
I've heard of them.
So wait, so is it like is this sort of a unifying war for the orcs?
It can be.
Because they could easily have taken the galaxy many times over had they been unified, but they've never really faced any kind of real existential threat.
Short of the humans encroaching, which created the beast and
Yeah.
the battle.
There's that.
This has the possibility of being the great Ork Waaagh to end all Waahs.
Yeah.
Which, if we think about how the Tyranid fleets have been wily and coming in through the galactic south, or doing these large pincer attacks, orcs are everywhere.
Yeah.
If orcs can get to a huge level and they just expand here in the Octarius sector, and then another Tyranid fleet comes over, imagine this huge fleet of orcs saying, well, we just beat them here. And then they rampage across the galaxy to go to the next big fight because they're expecting that the Tyranids will be as strong as the ones in Octarius. Woe behold any Forge World, Agri World, any Xenos race that's in the way. The Eldar could just be like, well, that's an incredible battle that's happening over there. And then they just see the prime orc level beast coming and they're like, humans, what did you do? We helped you with chaos. Now we got to fix this mess. You had one job.
They're gonna have to start resurrecting more Primarchs, I guess. That's
I do like. I'm a noob by any stretch of the imagination to the lore, but from what I know, it seems like they've made the Tyranids just like this unstoppable, incredibly powerful. Just this thing is basically unstoppable. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. And I like the idea that they've stirred up a hornet's nest that might be a challenge to them because the man is always like on the brink. It can
because
happen.
even when like the Imperium wins battles against the Tyranid, it's like we sacrifice this world in order to stop them. It wasn't really a
or the
victory.
Eldar, could they really do anything about them? It doesn't seem like it. So I like the idea that there's some balancing force to the universe in the form of the orcs.
For every reaction, the equal,
It doesn't feel like they just created the Tyranids to be this. It's basically they're going to win over time. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
So now there's like, maybe they have like, there's some mystery to it. And I like that. That's a good addition to the lore.
Yeah.
It's unexpected too. Because through most of the fighting in the sector, orcs are getting just wasted.
Yeah.
And the Hive Fleet is like, well, I'm going to eat my own warriors who die. I'm going to eat the orcs who die. But I think the thing that hasn't been talked about is how the orcs' genetic material is being incorporated into the Tyranids. Because that it's taking the collective strengths from whatever it devours. It's going to make itself bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
So, yes, the orcs could get to larger, stronger, smarter levels. But
But
the hive mind is going to be adapting with the material it's taking.
Yeah.
So now what you're in is a biological arms race of who can do it faster. Orcs have been shown to have leaps and bounds in their evolution from the old ones to literally I've got a hammer. Next thing I know, I've got a full star fleet.
Yeah. And for all we know, like that's not even their cap. Like
that's right.
Like we don't know if they have another tier.
If they start screaming Waaagh and they have hair that stands up on end and goes blonde, we know that some sort of franchise, sin has been committed.
Exactly. But it could happen.
But it could, no. But yes, but no. So yeah, that's the exciting thing about and how does the hive mind think of the orcs? Food.
Yeah. Same as everything else.
But it is a very
unlimited
stubborn food and an endless food. It can keep eating them and eating them and eating them. But it makes me wonder if extragalactic Tyranids are coming in. They say, wow, this one source of biomass is attracting us. All of its resources are going to funnel there rather than the Astronomicon in Holy Terra. So
okay. Because like the Waaagh does generate like a psychic field around it, so it could,
And the other Orc psychic field is unique in that it's I actually equate it more to the Necrons of how you can like play with reality, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But how's it affected by the shadow and the warp of the Tyranids?
Not.
They seem fine.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good storytelling potential to mine there.
Yeah, that is cool. Next one. What do you got for us?
Chaos Space Marines. You mad, bro? Brutal, cunning races.
Cunning.
Both. Yes.
Cunning.
Cunning.
Buzzword. Here we go.
Had to include
That's
it.
new. That's new.
Physically, Chaos Space Marines have proven to be a match for orcs and war bosses. Many of the video games like to put Chaos Space Marines up against orcs as a way of elevating how badass a Space Marine is.
Yeah.
That they have their gauntlet. They all kind of pseudo look like Horus. They're beating an orc aside with a single blow, and it's like, look at me and my menace. And then the orc, by sheer stubbornness, keeps getting up and won't stop, and it becomes pretty much the Hulk at that point.
Yeah.
Heretic Astartes' arrogance and ambition is only matched by an orc's desire for conflict. As much as Abaddon or any of the other Space Marines may be like, I am just so furious at the Imperium.
Yeah.
Get out of my way, orc. Orcs are like, I'm here. And
Yeah,
you're
you're
the
gonna have
best
to fight
fight that
me.
I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And the way that
There's
many...
no self-preservation with it.
The way that many heretics both look at orcs is just get out of my way. You're a speed bump and one that I'm sick and tired of dealing with. And it's very like, just move already.
Yeah.
But the orcs keep getting up and it's infuriating to them. But they also can view them as a tool, a rusty, crazy greenskin tool.
Yeah.
Abaddon, during his 11th Black Crusade, captured orcs to experiment on their connection to the warp.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, actually, eh?
It's something that I didn't see until like going back. He took thousands of weird boys back into the warp, where he's trying to figure out a hybridization ritual to weaken the fabrics of reality. That's in the new 8th edition codex, which stands to reason that if we're trying to plant seeds of future stories with all of the different races, are we going to get something like we were talking about with demon orcs coming out of chaos, or these other sort of...
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
World Eaters see them as sacrifice material, so they've gone to the Octarius sector and they're just collecting skulls.
Yeah, skulls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Emperor's Children, Lucius the Eternal, he fights Dark Eldars, Black Templars, Ork war bosses, because he really loves the thrill of the fight.
Yeah.
And few things in the galaxy give a better fight than an orc.
Yeah, especially a war boss.
Yep.
I wonder if an orc war boss killed him, would he then possess that orc war boss as soon as the orc war boss felt pleasure from the kill? I would imagine he would. I don't think it's a human specific thing. That'd be a weird...
It's a story element that hasn't been mined that much
Yeah.
of like orcs and their connection to chaos.
But like, I just don't see them. Why would they not? I don't know.
They're almost on a different field, but
Yeah.
it also might be that you start to get possessed and the orc is like, I don't like it, and all of a sudden your
That's
spirit has
true.
been expunged.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
how did that happen?
Yeah,
you know,
this is true.
or it literally the orc like closes its eyes like, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in ghosts. And then the spirit of this chaos is like, no.
I guess you don't believe in me. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets sucked into
Could
the
go
warp.
either way.
Yeah.
Yep.
What blew my mind, Necrons and their relationship to orcs in the 8th edition codex. From what I was looking up, short of Tyranids, orcs are mentioned the second most in the Necron codex.
Really? Why?
Which you'd expect humans in the battle.
Yeah.
Imperial Guard, they are fighting everyone. So maybe they didn't give enough lip service to the orcs, or maybe I didn't look closely enough.
Yeah, yeah.
But Necrons and the orcs have a lot of strange similarities. First of all, the Necrons are masters of the material universe. They're able to phase through walls. They're able to create like fold points in reality. Orcs' mental powers affect the material world in ways that betray logic and perception. So both
Guns that shouldn't shoot.
Yeah, and both are playing with reality.
Yeah.
Whereas we think of the Eldar, they're using the warp to affect the universe through the powers of the warp.
Yeah.
I think that this is a great story element for orcs and Necrons being like, if the war in heaven, orcs could actually have posed a larger threat. We know it was the old one's last ditch attempt to stop the Necrons was seeding for the orcs.
Yeah.
You could have set the orcs right in the way of the Necrons, who are like, we are pure rationality, we will control the universe, and orcs are just like, screw your reality. And then it like undoes all of these tricks that the Necron are doing. It almost seems like a
all these
cause and
illusions.
effect.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That's cool.
That's my take.
No, I'll take that take.
Take the take.
No, that's cool actually.
Imperial Guard, the de facto conflict of 40k, orcs and humans.
Yeah.
You watch 5 minutes of Hell's Reach, you got it. Like laser beams, orcs are like.
Then watch
just
it
rampaging.
again.
And again.
Then watch it again. Then make sure your wife's gone and watch it again.
Watch it again. Commissar Cyphus Cain, he's interesting in that much of the Imperium believes orcs are these rampaging, marauding beasts that have no intelligence. And in the, oh gosh, the name just left me, the Cyphus Cain books.
Are they just Cyphus Cain?
I guess.
I'm sure they have like titles or whatever,
Yes.
but
He lays down on different members of the Imperium who are like, they are not barbarians. They are not single-minded. They are
Cunning. There it is.
There it is again.
But they are
Thank you.
But they are malicious and they have hate. And hate is not, when we think of like barbarian monsters, we think of them just being rage filled. But hate is different than rage.
Yeah.
Hate is you're almost making a choice that you're singling someone out and you're like, I am coming for you.
Yeah.
Which is great for the way that the orcs are thought of in the Imperium, that there's two ways. You're either a monster or these things have picked humanity to be our nemesis, to be our great adversary. Not Chaos, who's like, Chaos is like, we want to be the great nemesis. And orcs are like, but we're doing it.
Yeah, we actually are taking worlds.
Yeah. Funny little note that we didn't mention earlier, Grukk the Mighty attacked a world of Baal Prime. Gretchen were used to sweep for minefields.
Yes.
And a lot of humans are like, what is happening? Why aren't they just sending these guys to go
And like, it's
detonate
not
mines?
sweeping for minefields. It's literally like they have a broom and they're sweeping for minefields. Like
Classic.
Yeah.
That brings me to the next one, which involves freebooters. Now, we didn't talk about
I love
freebooters, really. What do you like about freebooters?
I don't know. It's just so goofy in my mind. It's just like they're orc pirates in space. Like, I want to do an orc RPG at some point where we're all playing freebooters, and it'd just be so goofy and like
Don't take it seriously. Just
exactly. You can just have a good time. Like we're playing like a town.
It wouldn't be even unreasonable because
No.
that's how everybody plays an RPG. Except it
Exactly.
would be perfect. Because
Exactly.
everyone would just do what they do.
Everyone wants to derail the campaign.
Every RPG
Great.
player is chaotic something.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Like I just think like the dynamic would just be so wild, and like it could just be fun. That's kind of what I like about them. Is just like the RPG potential behind them. Like I said, I really like that orcs can actually be very characterful.
Yeah. The orcs, just with their relation to Astartes, the Blood Angels have actually struck fear into the hearts of orcs, which is something we haven't mentioned. We've talked about orcs being funny. We've talked about them being vengeful, hateful killing machines.
Yeah.
Orcs can get scared.
Yeah.
Orcs have feelings too.
Yeah.
But that kind of fits in too because like it's kind of what you're talking about, that like inspiration of the hooligan. And it kind of makes sense. It's like, sure, they like the fight, they like it, but when
The police show up.
yeah, when the popos show up, you're gonna take a run for it, right?
Yeah.
So when it's like, oh, we're definitely not gonna win this.
Yeah.
The next race to talk about their relationship to the orcs, the Adeptus Mechanicus,
I've heard of them.
my favorite.
I'm kidding.
Jordan, hold me back.
Oh boy.
I'm kidding. I like them.
Protect the mics.
Orcs. Please think of us on Patreon. So the Orks and Mechanicus put machines together. They believe strongly in their use, and sometimes it borders on dogmatic belief that these machines should work.
Yeah.
The difference is Mechanicus are reverse engineering a lot of the equipment, whereas Orks actually have a technological advantage of you throw a bunch of guns on it,
Yeah.
now it's working.
Yeah, exactly.
This, as a devout Mechanicus tech priest, is one of the most infurious things when you're trying to find STCs, you're trying to reverse engineer, like, oh, this Castellan robot, if only I could resurrect its machine spirit.
Yeah.
Literally an orc walks up, rips its head off, throws it on top of a tank, and now the tank is moving around
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it has a mind of its own. You're like, you're ruining everything.
Why are you doing this? Yeah.
There is a Mechanicus genitor, Aurelius Thos, who his quote is, orcs are, and you can picture this in a very droll Mechanicus voice, they are fascinating and terrifying. That explains everything about the way that the Mechanicus see orcs. They are a curiosity,
Yeah.
but they have no myth that they are not a frightening machine.
Yeah.
For anyone who reads the Gods of Mars book series,
Okay.
orcs are actually involved in the first book, who are repurposed by the Mechanicus as material for fighting.
Oh, okay.
To defend a forge world or an outpost.
Okay.
So orcs
so they're like turning their bodies into like
orc
guardians.
servitors,
Okay.
effectively.
Crazy. That's cool.
Yeah, because all you need is the body.
Yeah.
You don't need the mind so much.
Yeah. Well, there's not much of a mind
and the
there, but-
Mechanicus sees them as tools, but also dangerous tools.
Yeah.
Two big Mechanicus connections. The Legio Metallica from Forge World Metallica fought against the orcs on Armageddon. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
no,
dun, 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 dun.
Metallica's playing in my head now. That needs to be the theme of that planet. That's the national anthem.
Orc Titan class threats, 6 million orcs. What do? Well, if you're Princeps Prime Kurtz Mannheim, who's got a really stupid order to hold the line, you march your Titan into the heart, you destroy 3 gargantuan orc mechs, and then you detonate your core.
Perfect.
Yes.
Nobody wins in that.
If you have heard the way that the Titan war horn is done in any of the audiobooks, and you picture this horn going off as it's marching in, gives me chills. But I'm a huge nerd for anything Mechanicus, but it's great. The other Mechanicus connection is Ryza.
Okay.
Not Riza, not the rap thing, but Ryza, as I pronounce it. They fought 2 Ork Waaghs. They see the orcs as violent, unchecked. There is a rust stalker on the tabletop. Those are the guys with the bendy kind of like goat legs.
Yeah.
They race forward. Clade R2111 is the rust stalker, and he's got a group. Kill Clade is what they're called, of rust stalkers. They march through the acid rain, and they just start horrifyingly murdering orcs like in night attacks.
Cool.
They are painted orange for the Forge World. The acid rain is streaking their metal, so it's creating this very ghostly apparition look.
That's cool.
The orcs see this, and any of the metal, let's say it's eating through, you're seeing whites of metal.
Yeah.
Or the color white to orcs has some significance as well. It's this.
Yeah, what is that? Death.
It's color
right?
death.
Yeah.
So you've got these mechanical robots jumping out of the night like freaking ninjas.
Yeah.
Streaked orange. Some of the white underneath of the metals are showing.
Yeah.
This is a horrifying thing. The orcs are like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And so that's a very
So you're saying the best camo for fighting orcs is white?
I would say orange, but like when it starts melting off you.
Okay, so get acid rain.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry. First turn yourself into a robot.
Robot, yeah.
Yes, then acid rain.
Cut off your legs.
Yes.
Get robo legs.
Simple
enough. I'll do it for you right now.
Very easy plan here.
Step 1, robot legs.
Yep, that's easy. Amazon.
No.
So they view them as curious but dangerous.
Curious but dangerous. Next one is the Tau. Have you guys read? Well, Mark, because of your love of Tau.
I don't know why people say that.
I don't know why.
I'm a lover of all things, 40k. Not just. I have enough love for everything.
He's not a
in the
fighter. He's a
universe.
lover.
Yes. Unless you want to fight.
And then he's a fighter.
Yeah.
Not a lover.
No.
Except today. You know.
Then we can
I'm
make
saying
love
you
in that
lost the
fight.
game against the guy across the table here, but
I don't know if it was so much of a loss or as if he was 1 point over in his list construction.
I did have 1,001 points.
So, like, technically,
That 1 point-
it was cheating. I'll freely admit I cheated today.
no, James, you beat me fair and
the
square.
the dice were also loaded. That's how I won as well. There were multiple ways of cheating.
I turn around to take a sip of my drink. Your models are 4 inches closer.
Oh, I just took off your models, actually. I just took them off the table.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
you guys could have had your regular 40k tournament right there. That's
It's real life here.
next connection, the Tau. When you think of like Dungeons and Dragons and races that are fighting against each other, and you get one race that's blue and one race that's green, you're like, oh, what's the culture clash? What's it going to be? Literally, it's just the Tau. Like, what are these strange beasts? Oh my god! You know,
Yeah, and like it's so barbaric and like crazy to them that they probably can't even like really relate to it.
one of the
like-
few times that the Watercast cannot negotiate,
Exactly.
except some freebooters
Yeah.
are passing by. They'll drop off shipments and they'll maybe have a little bit of trade. But I did not know this, but Commander Farsight of the Tau,
Yeah.
really his introduction is fighting against the orcs of Waaagh.
Okay.
So long story short, deserty sort of encounters. There's crevasses, there's canyons. Farsight gets his name for his ability to foresee where the greenskins are going to go next, and his ability to kind of predict these long firing lanes
Yeah.
to chew up orcs.
Yeah.
The orcs also have stealth. Oh, sorry. Oh god, that'd be a horrifying video.
That would be.
Tau
cloaking devices.
Purple
but they would be
orcs.
talking the whole time, stealth, like sneaking around, sneak.
Sogen stab. Sogen stab it.
It's like, what was that noise?
Nothing.
Yeah, he tells you. The Tau have stealth suits. They go off and they kill the biggest orcs, which send the orcs against themselves. It's working pretty well. The best part though is that the Tau also have their own voice recording systems. Osha, which was the original name for or Oshova for Commander Farsight.
Yeah.
With his team, they decipher the orc language. And then
Clever of them.
in their stealth suits, they start to sneak up behind the orcs and just kind of like give them jabs, be like, "Oi, you looking at me?" And then the orc would turn to the guy next to him and be like, "I'm not looking at you." He's like, "What were you talking about?" And then they would start fighting each other. This is literally
hilarious.
a Saturday Night Live skit.
That is good.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Classic orc.
And who knew Tao could have some humor too as well.
It's actually a really good example of kind of Tao just being like, it's funny for the for the Tao reader. It's great. No, and
that's cool.
Farsight, they wrote the book called The Book of the Beast. Another time that the beast shows up, just populated throughout orc
They
literature.
like that. They like that name. Almost like their cunning word. Their cunning,
cunning word.
They're like beasts and cunning beasts.
Cunning beasts.
And the Tao have a word for when an orc attacks in mass: Gorokha, or death hail, which is awesome. Just that. Yeah. Now the Tao ended up through this long conflict. They almost lost. And actually, they had to retreat. There was a battle called Ghoul's Gorge. The orcs had force fields protecting them, and the only way to get through those force fields, because we know Tao's shooting, the only way to stop them was to get close enough under the force field to fight. So
they were Star Wars Episode 1 force
They
fields.
did, yep. So they try it.
Yeah.
And the Tao get mauled. Orcs are grabbing pieces of Tao and clubbing the other Tao with those pieces.
Of course they are.
And it's terrible. So the Tao forces are forced to retreat. So it's kind of a bittersweet end to this conflict.
Yeah.
But the Orcs, without their enemy, fight each other. And then the Tao come back and mop them up. So happy ending.
Yeah.
Oh, those orcs.
Oh, those silly orcs.
The last one is the Eldar, who have the shared lineage to the old ones with the Orcs, which has been talked about on this podcast a lot.
Yeah, a couple times for sure.
Yeah. The Eldar consider the Orcs very begrudgingly, almost like cousins. It's like, look,
You would almost have to,
yeah, who are we to judge? We've created gods that are now stealing our souls. We've set races into oblivion. We've destroyed entire civilizations. They are clearly having the time of their life. And there's almost this begrudging, like, it is what it is.
Why did they get all the nice things?
Yeah,
The favored child.
Yeah, the fit. Oh.
It's like if the younger sibling who's
Right.
just, Kevin or
No responsibility, all fun, right?
Kevin the Menace or Calvin the Menace or whatever the hell, but just I
know what you're talking about, but
Dennis the Menace.
Dennis, there it is.
Yes.
We're not that old, guys. So anyway,
You're 42.
I know, right? Wait, no, I'm not. So Waaagh, our butts, attacks an Exite world of Baran.
Our butts.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like,
butts.
wait, what?
So I had to read it. Yeah,
Our butts. Yep, there it is.
It's a long battle between the Eldar of Baal-Tan, the Imperium. So when War Boss Snugga Big Teeth shows up, they raise the human capital. The Autarch of Baal-Tan thinks, okay, there's 1,000 orcs. We are going to go over here and fight. Orcs are like hiding in
purple. They're hiding in purple.
Well, it's an Exite world, so it stands to reason there's also big lush forests, so they're hiding their numbers.
Yeah.
He goes in expecting a fight of 1,000, gets hundreds of thousands. And it's
Not a good day.
It's literally that moment where the Elder like pulls off his incredibly tall helmet, puts it by his side, and you're just like, well, this is where
At least it's not the Slaanesh.
yes.
And then they die.
It's funny though because the Eldar first of all, there's 2 Gargants that show up on the field of battle, and both of them are called Bigga. So it's who's on first, but Bigga's, it's like, Bigga's going to attack that. Where's Bigga? Over there. Bigga's at Bigga? No, Bigga's at Bigga.
The Bigga.
The Bigga. Orc humor.
Yes.
They destroy Baal-Tan on this planet.
That's twice now that we've mentioned that they get wrecked by orcs.
Yep.
Good times.
It's a number.
Oh, is this the same story? Because you were saying this is a paradise world as well.
Another paradise world, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The orcs, when they go up against the Eldar, it's just a case of numbers. We know Eldars as a dying race, they don't have a lot,
Yeah,
so they have to
don't
be
even-
really smart about
Yeah.
it. But Eldar, still though, with the lower numbers, these defeats, they are so arrogant. They will say, well, we have defeated larger orc empires in the past. We have seen, and they kind of allude to like the beast level orcs, the prime orcs. We have defeated orc civilizations much larger. But you would have to think, if you're a Eldar player who wants to do something involving Octarius, where they're like, this Tyranid orc thing is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
If you do a campaign where the Eldar are showing up because they know what they have a history. They know what these older campaigns can look like.
Yeah.
You can set yourself up for a campaign of Eldar fighting orcs before it can get to that level because of Eldar foresight and predictions.
Yeah.
And,
No, that's
totally.
that would be a cool campaign idea too.
and then the last for Dark Eldar, we talk about them already. Orcs are seen as valuable raid material. You pop in, you steal a bunch of orcs, take them back to Kamara, and you just start torturing the bodies, and you're like, great.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good times.
So those are some of the major references to the way that other races
Yeah.
see the orcs.
So what I really got out of that, because you did all the research on this section of it, and I really appreciate that. But what I took away was like, I really just want to see more interactions between Xenos on Xenos and more
Yeah.
expanded. Like, I know it'd be awfully hard to write a book from an orc perspective fighting
that's
Eldar.
true. Well, that's the thing is
But-
that they've created a lot of Xenos that are very hard to relate to from a human perspective.
Yeah.
Because you can't relate to a Tyranid, you can't relate
Yeah.
to an orc relay. They're too.
I feel like you could do graphic novel.
Yeah,
That might translate a little better.
Orcs would be probably good
Yeah,
for that. Yeah,
yeah.
because they're not gonna have like long speech where you're.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah, you can illustrate a lot more just with the pictures, right?
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah,
trying
totally.
to describe stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I took away. Like I really enjoy when races interact that are not just orcs versus humanity, and like how they actually view each other. So
It gives you a lot of creativity because
Yeah,
in many ways
exactly.
the Imperium as the module for Games Workshop to push the story forward.
yeah,
As a writer, you must have some restrictions on what you can touch, what you can't. Like,
Yeah.
like you're like, okay, we're going to have the Ordo Xenos show up and they're going to fight the orcs, and that's great. But you have a lot of these properties aren't like just the fact that the Octaria sector and the Tyranids versus orcs has ballooned into this huge conflict that
Yeah.
is territory for great story mining. Farsight has a old relationship with the orcs.
Yeah.
Start having them come back, and maybe orcs are headed for the planet of Tau.
yeah.
Farsight has to go back and help protect Tau against this huge Waaagh.
Yeah, and it
What
brings
does that
them
do for
back
his
into the
reintegration?
Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's orcs they're great villains for 40k.
Yeah.
Because they can be anything that
Yeah.
is needed.
And like so part of me like I don't like playing as like chaos because I just the mindset to me just isn't there. Like I don't like getting in the mindset of just like blood and gore, but orcs you can still be that villain, you can still be like evil, but you're not just like evil for the sake of evil. Like you can I can still enjoy playing as orcs without feeling dirty.
Oh geez. Well,
Like I'm
Yeah.
pure, you gave me a purity seal.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because that's just what they are. Where like Chaos Space Marines, like they're actively like trying to be evil.
well, their ambitions are
Yeah.
the worst part of ourselves.
Exactly. So
orcs
I just
are
don't
not
like
living up to ambition. They're living out the dream.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they do make great villains because like they are villains. Like,
So hot
they're-
take.
Hot
take.
I have deep emotional issues that we need to talk about.
Okay. Next campaign.
Yeah.
Let's say it's because we've got the next two codices that are coming out.
Yeah, Space Wolves and Orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Praise Valhalla. Wait, what? Oh.
It's another human versus orc conflict.
Yeah.
If you were to say, because you like these Xenos, again, like any Xenos versus orcs, if you're doing Xenos on Xenos, what is the conflict that you would like for a campaign book or a campaign topic? What would it be?
So depending on the day, like I'll change my mind. Like I'm very frivolous. So depending on the day that you ask me, yeah, I'll change. But you've really like painted a very good picture of like the Octarius campaign, like just that eternal fight, and the orcs are getting bigger, and like it'd be a great way, like as we've seen the Games Workshop is getting newer, or as they're advancing all their model range and their techniques and stuff, the models are getting bigger and bigger. Like to me, this would be a perfect way to introduce like bigger orcs without just being like the Primaris Marine, like I don't know,
For every reaction, the opposite reaction
Yeah.
again. Like you've got Primaris Marines.
Yeah.
What's not to say that you're going to start to get Prime Orcs?
Yeah, like if they release a new, bigger orc range or a different orc breed or something like that, and this was the way to do it, like I'd be okay with it.
The Orcs of Octarius.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, or even if they called them like prime orcs or whatever they choose to call them, but like this would definitely be one of the good ways, like because this battle between the orcs and the nids, we've known about this battle for quite some years, like in our time.
Yes.
Like it's been quite a feature in the lore for a while. So yeah, I don't know. If I was to say something right now, it'd definitely be I'd love to see an orc versus nid campaign.
it's a sensible way to move the story forward. You don't
Exactly.
feel blindsided by like, they
Exactly.
built this foundation and it feels earned.
Yeah, exactly. So that'd be my answer. Yeah.
If I'm honest, I've always felt like the moment, and now this is a short timeline because I'm a noob here, but the Nids have always just felt like they built them up so much more than they built up anything else that they need to cap it somehow, because I don't want to feel like I'm getting into the universe and then, but by the way, just so you know, everything else is going to lose to this.
And
It's
you
inevitable.
definitely don't want to ever listen to another Nid player say, well, we're going to eat the galaxy one day. You don't ever want to hear
No,
that again.
shut your
you
face.
You gotta cap it.
Exactly. You just need to have, you have to have a cap on it. And every time I've heard anything about Nids, that's the only thing I'm like, gosh, they just sound too much.
Yeah.
You need to either dial everything up again, which is what 40K does, which is making these prime orcs, or dial them down, which is on 40K.
Yeah.
So what is the response?
You dial it up.
We're gonna dial it up again with the orcs, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And so if you're asking me that same question, I'm gonna say that same campaign.
He painted a good picture of
from
it.
a different angle. I want the Nids not to be so overpowered in the universe.
Well, I think it's a good story point because you can even take a branch of these orcs. Let's say they level up and they move out of the Octarius sector. You've now got these really strong orcs, smash them into a Necron tomb world.
Yeah.
All these Necron are waking up, and this
They
great
give them a
enemy.
bunch of doomsday weapons.
Well, less of the tricking because now they would be smarter.
Yeah.
So you've got, and you can think about the ways that their powers can control reality. The orcs can.
Yeah.
Carry that to its next level. You've got the Necrons who are waking up and they're like, oh, these stupid creatures of the old ones that were, were seated, we'll deal with them. And then you just get smashed and you're like, hold the phone.
Yeah, well, and that's a good thing too, is because not to the same degree I feel as the Tyranids, but the Necron are also one of those ones that's built up a lot in the lore to just be, they're basically invincible. So, but no, then you have orcs that are like, okay, now they have a run for their money.
Yeah.
It's almost that what the origins of the orc are is, again, that, the game brawl, that anytime you have someone very like, I am superior than thou, it's really funny to watch a guy just like fly by, punch him in the teeth and keep running.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jordan?
Do you like Warhammer, Jordan?
What?
What is this?
What is
this Warhammer?
I've been
Who
sitting
is
here
this
for
hammer?
38 hours.
You're asking what like
if-
orc I would like to see versus okay.
Orc
and
versus what?
Xenos.
Hey, for everyone listening, Jordan is useful. He caught. We were recording, and then the computer froze, and he caught it like within like 30 seconds.
Did he catch it?
He caught
Or
it.
did the purity seal of the Mechanicus help save this
Either way,
podcast?
Jordan is the hero of the podcast because this does happen quite a few
The
times.
motive force helped move
So, like,
you.
Yeah,
I do production side.
yeah, no,
Okay.
and we appreciate it.
Anyways.
so, Xenos.
I'd probably like to see a Tyranid versus orcs.
Okay, so the mob has spoken.
It's
It's
King Kong
unanimous.
versus Godzilla.
I think that would be exactly. It's like two monsters fighting each other. So that would be like the most interesting. Not that anything else wouldn't be interesting, but
Yeah, but like if you took like Eldar versus Tau, they're both like sophisticated. Like you can relate to them a little more. I see what you're saying. It's just that primal.
It's Mothra and
Yeah.
Godzilla, the classic mashup.
Let them fight.
Yes.
Cool. Well, anything else? Well, that was a good episode. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, James.
Yes.
Handshake, hug, kiss. Oh,
butt grab.
butt grab. It was nice to not be sexually molested by Eric for once. I do miss him. He went down to Portland. He ended up meeting up with a Lorehammer fan, and it sounded like he had a good
Awesome.
time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if ever you guys are in Calgary, send us a message. Like, Colin sent me a message, and it turned out like, oh, fucking sweet. New friend. So, yeah, send us a message if you're in Calgary. We meet up.
This will be the last time that they hear your voice, though, Mark. I
You're
forgot to
murdering
tell
me.
you that I am murdering you at the end of this podcast to take your spot on the show.
You know
So
what?
if you listeners would like to hear more of me on this podcast, please write Lorehammer at
At markisdead.com. See you.
.ca. Anyway,
But yeah, check us out on Patreon.
James, thank you.
Check us out on handshake.
There was a
Handshake.
legitimate handshake there, not just saying it.
Oh, I always
to
say what's
confuse-
happening. Eric's never actually touched anyone. I just accuse him of touching me all the time.
in the theater of the mind, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Check us out on Patreon if you want to donate. That'd be great. Like we're handing out t-shirts and stuff. We're going to be sending out a bunch of stuff as soon as Eric gets back. But also, like, we want some of this Lorehammer money to go into, like, some contests for you guys, just to...
Prize support.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Palindrome Ork contest.
Exactly. Like, we don't ever plan on pocketing any of the money that you guys give us. We either are going to dump it back into the podcast or dump it into me getting a Warlord Titan or other things that are for me.
Wait, hold on.
I didn't just sneak that in there?
Only Warhammer related.
Yeah. Well, only Warhammer podcast related. Like, yeah. So hit us up if you want merch. Check that out. Redbubble. Yeah. I don't know. That's all. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also, rate us and review us on iTunes.
Yeah,
that
that'd be
always
cool.
helps. Check us out on Facebook. That's usually the best way to connect with us. You can also email us, lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep. Send me pictures of your Ork Warlord and his story. Cool.
Cool.
Kit bash yourself a Ork Titan.
Exactly.
Also great.
Also great.
Use a toolbox from the nearby Home Depot. You know.
All right. What does Eric always say to take us out of this? What does he always say?
Good evening and good night.
I don't think so, but we're going to have to go with that.
We could also just end with all of us screaming a giant Waaagh.
I feel like other podcasts have done that, though. I got to be original.
It's overdone.
Let's scream something
We
else.
can whisper it. That's not working. Okay.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
All right, thanks, guys, for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace.